So welcome, one and all, to another episode of the Wiki Weekdays podcast. I'm your host this week, Karl Smallwood, joined as ever by the illustrious and lovely Lucas Holland.
Hello.
And if anyone unfamiliar with the podcast format, myself and Lucas will scour the lengths and breadths of the internet for wikis on subjects we're interested in and bring them forward for discussion. And before we get to that, Lucas, probably apologise, there was no upload last week because we weren't well.
Yeah, I did take, the whip to the back, gave myself, the 10 lashes, just to apologise.
Yeah. So we should just say we weren't well, and we focused on uploading videos rather than the podcast, because the videos tend to get more consistent views. It's just one of those choices you have to make when you work freelance.
Yeah, I logged on and didn't look well, and Karl's like, Lucas, I think maybe we should just, not record the podcast this week. You don't look good, mate. Go to bed.
Yeah, it's like you signed on to record, and I just took one look at you and went, just go back to bed. Which you did. But yeah, we should apologise for that. We did get a few messages of support from people, which is very much appreciated. Mm-hmm. It's always nice to know people out there care enough about us to check in. We should also apologise because, we've been prioritising specific uploads. We've not been updating the Spotify all that much, have we? Because you're the one who handles that, and I don't have the logins for it.
Yeah, so by the time people are listening to this, it should be on Spotify and all the RSS feed and stuff. The audio version should be live, as well as the last couple of ones as well.
Yes, and the other thing to shout out as well is for Spooky Month, we plan to do a lot of spooky content, or at least I am. So I wanted to reflect that in our Pet of the Week this week. So the Pet of the Week is not a user-submitted Pet of the Week. It is the Pet of the Week that I wanted, which is the shitty, ghost dog from Goosebumps. Yeah. Specifically the intro of the 90s cartoon, not cartoon, live-action show. Yeah,
the Goosebumps 90s show. And, I said to Karl when he mentioned this, I was like, okay, that's something we can do. But I looked up the picture, and it's just, the worst little, tiny drawn-on eyes. I was like, oh, God.
The thing is, though, it looks incredible because it's such an iconic visual.
Mm.
Iconic visual, even, I should say. But yes, if anyone out there has a spookier picture of their pet, they can submit it on our Discord by joining our Patreon at any tier. And if you join our Discord and you're not on our Patreon, you can just vote on which Patreon submitted pet pick could go forward to be our Pet of the Week going forward.
Indeed. And we have mentioned before, I don't know, obviously we've even mentioned, poltergeist picks don't really exist anymore, but if you've got any spooky picks to submit of just generally anything, just not pet related,
yes.
Just if we could have some form of poltergeist of the week for the Halloween episode, that would be great.
Or just a pet in a spooky costume, because that's I'm looking forward. Yeah, give us some pet costumes.
Pet costumes would be fantastic as well, yes.
Yeah, are you going out for Halloween this year?
No, but what I generally try to do is make the effort of making little goodie bags, and I get the Halloween themed mini booster packs of Pokemon cards and put one of those in each of the goodie bags for kids. So I always enjoy doing that.
I'm not answering my door because normally I'm out on Halloween. So what I do is I put a big bucket outside with full of sweets, and normally it's gone by the time I get in, which means either people are really happy that I've done that, or there's just one dickhead who takes it all.
I mean, either way. I think the important thing is that you got a note through your door saying that a kid was really happy that you put sweets out one time, right?
Yeah, because I used to live in a block of flats, and I wasn't sure if people in the flats would celebrate Halloween, so I put the sweets outside, and just got a note through the door, as you said, from a parent. It was our kid really enjoyed that, because we were on our way out to go trick-or-treating, and they saw the sweets outside and were very, they were excited to see them.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing at Christmas with candy canes.
Exactly, and that's I think the more important part is, regardless of how much each person is taking or whatever, just the idea that you're at least making someone's night, right?
Yeah, and I'm hoping to go out on Halloween, and I've got a costume potentially lined up.
Ooh, what are you going as?
I don't want to spoil it in case I don't pull it off.
Is it Rumi from K-pop Demon Hunters?
No, I'm not going to be doing anything that extravagant or in depth. But there's a costume I've wanted to do for a while. One of my heroes.
Slender Man. Got it.
No. I do like all the jokes people have done about Slender Man, where someone was at a gay club at Halloween, someone came in as Slender Man, and I bumped into Slender Man's gay brother. I like Lenderman. Oh, I like Menderman. That's it.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's sent my size into orbit.
I think that's a nice one, similar to Jack Skellington, where you can basically just get a white morph suit and a suit. And it's like, yeah, it's a pretty simple one, right?
Just stand in the background of like millennials photos and freaking the fuck out.
Oh dear. But I'm looking forward to seeing that outfit on you, Karl, hopefully. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But
that's why I'm not saying anything, because people, like, if I don't get the costume in time or don't end up going to like a place where I'm going to be wearing an outfit, people might get annoyed. So if I don't mention it, people won't be upset.
That's one of the really annoying things, is like a lot of clubs and stuff are still picky about what you dress like, even on Halloween. It's like, come on, just have a bit of fun. Like, it's one night of the year.
Yeah.
Just let people in fancy dress.
But it's the one night of the year where people could probably like sneak in something that otherwise you wouldn't want to have in a club. Like, say,
obviously, in terms of like security, I get that side of things. But in terms of like, no, you look stupid, you're not allowed in the club. It's like, come on. Yeah. But no, I definitely get in terms of like safety and that makes sense.
But keep your eyes peeled on Discord and our socials for more updates on that. But Lucas, what have you brought forward for discussion this week, mon frere?
Well, Karl, as people are listening to this at least, tomorrow is the first time in years we get new Pokemon. We get new Pokemon.
Is that coming out this tomorrow? Month? Is that tomorrow?
Well, not for us. It is for the listeners. It's coming out on Thursday.
No, so I've not followed this at all.
So, Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out on Thursday. So
why is it not Pokemon Pizza? Pizza.
Well, it is to Americans, right? Because like a lot of Americans use ZAR as like an abbreviation for pizza.
What stupid ones, yeah. Sarcasm. We love you, our American fans.
Karl's like, please don't leave us. You're half our viewer base. But yes, I figured we would talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is the first game in the like Legends sub-series. Like, I don't even really know that there's much to link together Legends Arceus and Legends ZA other than the fact that it's like not a mainline game.
Well, it's like, that's the beauty of Wiki Weekends, that the Wiki's got a back on this one, but also you are pronouncing Arceus, it's Arceus, isn't it?
I've been hammered by like, Pokemon approved users so much that like it's same with like Rayquaza, right?
Yeah.
I've watched so many like Pokemon tournaments and things like that where like all of the commentators have been given detailed pronunciation guides and stuff, and like they know each one by the letter, where it's like I started to call it Arceus and like Rayquaza and stuff like that. And
I appreciate, like, Pokemon, it's their thing. They want people to pronounce the words correctly. But like the other weirdest one, because it does come across as like slightly dystopian. Like, the whole thing of like corporate approved like speak.
Yeah.
Go watch like the Pokemon Unite, like Pokemon MOBA.
Okay.
You can hear the commentators struggling to not say the word kill when they get a knockout.
Yeah.
And because obviously it's a MOBA, if it was League of Legends or Dota, it's like, you got to kill. Pokemon, you're not allowed to say kill.
No.
Even though like it's an understood term in regards to gaming of just, you got a point. Like, it's divorced from the actual meaning of kill at this point in regards to gaming. You can hear the commentators like stumbling over their words when they try to say it.
Yeah.
And that is, like I said, it's a little bit dystopian of like, they're so afraid to say that word because they know if they do on stream, they're never going to work in anything officially related to Pokemon again.
Yeah, it really is one of those things where like when Pokemon Company are dealing with, anyone outside of their company, like commentators and things like that, or people in marketing and stuff, like, people talk about the fact that, like, they will explicitly, like, get you to do every single pronunciation correctly. Like, say if you're doing, like, an advert, if you mispronounce anything, it's like, no.
Do it again.
Do it again. This is how you say it. You're not allowed to, like, have your own spin on it or whatever. This is, like, the Pokemon-approved way to do things, and you do it that way.
And that's why I'm not sure if we ever would, but if I ever got invited to one of those events, I would not be able to resist saying Pokemons. Just like, that's like, I'm an older person. It's like, oh yeah, the Pokemons, and I know I get in trouble for it. And it's like, really? Not have any fun?
Karl would just be out there like, yeah, fucking Arceus, that's the one. It's like,
yeah, do you know like the
Karl
funniest
just gets dragged off the stage. He's like,
it'd be like, the shepherd's crook pulling me off stage, right?
Yeah.
Like the funniest example of that I can think of in recent memory, it was like the Game Awards. And I forget who it was on stage. It was some actor on stage. Okay. And they were introducing Troy Baker. And you hear them, and you can see them misreading the teleprompter. Because they say, oh yes, and in our industry, and you can hear them about to say voice actors.
Oh, okay.
And they stop themselves as they're about to say voice, and then go, actors. And Troy Baker comes on, and you know that was Troy Baker himself insisting that he's an actor and not a voice actor.
Which I get, because
I get, but it's just,
yeah,
you can see in real time the person misread the teleprompter. Because they're probably in their head thinking, oh yeah, Troy Baker is a well-known actor. It's like that, and it's like, it's because that guy's ego is like, I'm not a voice actor, I'm an actor. It's like, well, they're both the same thing. And if anything, you insisting on being called an actor rather than a voice actor just diminishes the art of voice acting even more. Because you now think you're above that. Or at least that's the suggestion I got from the fact you can clearly tell. Yeah. You can clearly tell the person was going to say voice actor, but looked at the teleprompter and did a double take and says actor.
And, like, I get it, because, there is a lot of, like, motion capture involved. Like, they are an actor just as much as, like, Josh Brolin is when he's playing Thanos. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, Josh Brolin is providing every element of that performance. He's just being CGI'd over. And that's similar to, like, a video game character when you're talking more high-budget games, at least, where you're, doing the full, like, actual motion capture for everything and stuff.
I just remember specifically noticing that, because it's you can see in real time the person noticed the teleprompter is not saying what they assumed it said, and correcting themselves. Similar to like when you watch like Pokemon content. We just had the Milwaukee like regionals recently, and I watched like some of those, and you can hear them like stumbling over themselves when they're about to mispronounce the name of something.
That threw me off so much. My head was spinning for a second when I went past and it was like Pokemon 2026 regionals. I'm like,
wait, what?
What year is it? Like, I literally had to like triple take. And that says 2026. What am I thinking right now?
Yeah, I get it. It's their brand. They want people to say it right, but I can't help but feel that there must be so much pressure on the people doing the commentary to not mispronounce stuff that they probably spent an entire decade as a child only reading. Which is why myself and you mispronounce a lot of Pokemon names, because literally for a decade there was no accepted pronunciation.
Well, I mean, for you there wasn't, Karl. Me, as a stalwart Pokemon Stadium 2 player, I knew all the pronunciations.
Do the pronunciations that are wrong sometimes?
I don't know if they are in Stadium.
Like, some of them are, though. I think it's like they call like Therathorn.
No,
they put the emphasis on the R.
Was only the first two gens. That was the N64 one. So I think that one I never noticed any. But it might be like maybe the Pokemon Battle Revolution or something like that. No, because even that was Gen 4. I don't know where that would be with Ferrothorn, but yeah, either way.
So I think to like Tekken, for years, when Tekken 3 came out, and there's the character Harang, and that's the pronunciation like in Korean. But in like Tekken 3, it's like Hawarang, and that's how I pronounce it. That's how that's how the guy in the commentator for the game announces his name. Apparently it's not. It's like Harang.
Hawarang.
Yeah, they put a big emphasis on it. It's like the new character for Tekken is
Miarizo.
But it's not Zo, because that's not the pronunciation in Madagascar. It's Miari, you don't pronounce the Zo, it's Miariza.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I was trying to remember how they pronounced it, because like I read it one way and they pronounced it a different way, and I remember the Miari part.
But I do appreciate that, because they're trying really hard for like all the Tekken characters. More recently, it's like, hey, this character's Korean, we're going to use the Korean pronunciation. This character is from Madagascar, we're going to use the Madagascan pronunciation. This character is from China, we're going to use the Chinese pronunciation.
No, I appreciate that. That's like really important to
but
like
it did throw me
characters. Off. But like, I saw people reacting to the fact that they got a trailer, and aren't they ogre or some crap like that?
Oh yeah, that time I got reincarnated as an anime girl.
Right, okay.
Ogre's down Madagascar and Lima anime girl, and it's like Tekken just be doing whatever.
Ogre got caught in an isekai, just like when you get caught in an isekai in Pokemon Legends Arceus, Karl.
Tell me about it.
Well, do you know anything about the setup for this game?
I know that I watched you play it for an hour and went, this looks like shit, I'm just going to go play Monster Hunter.
And this is the game that many people will tell you is the best Pokemon game we've had in many, many years.
And it's one that I looked at and went, I've got Monster Hunter.
And the game follows the protagonist, who is, the self-insert, you create the character.
Yeah.
And they are sent back in time by Arceus. And you get sent...
Is it Arceus or Arceus now?
It is officially Arceus.
It's officially Arceus, and we say Arceus as the wrong. We've been making this joke for so long, I forgot what the official pronunciation is. Which is the one we joke about, and which is the real one?
Arceus, because, arse. But,
that's it, Doy.
Yeah. But yeah, you basically, the start of the game is you make your character, you meet God, and he sends you back in time to help, fix the Hishui region, which is also the Sinnoh region. And it's okay, sure.
No, is that Pokemon Pangea then? When he's just one big...
No, so
landmass?
It's just the... so the Hishui region is based on the Hokkaido region of Japan, but it's during early Japanese colonization, according to this. And it's basically the region is only just being settled on, and it's then later becomes Sinnoh at some point, which is the Diamond and Pearl region.
Okay.
And it's not like the landmass really, changes much or anything. It's just, it was Hisui, and at some point it became Sinnoh.
Fair enough.
Don't think too much about it. It's okay, sure. And yeah, it's a 2022 action role-playing game developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company for the Nintendo Switch.
Mistake right there.
What?
Barely developed. And it's not an action game. It is almost a game.
That's the thing, right? Is I think this had a lot of decent ideas, but when people made the joke of man, this looks like a HD version of a GameCube game, and I was like, no, that's mean. That's mean. Come on.
Then you look at the trees in the background.
When I went back to it a couple of years later, I was like, oh, okay, no, yeah, maybe I did give this one too much credit. Maybe it kind of does look a bit like an up-res GameCube game, yeah.
Which is such a running joke now. Like I said, when I saw regionals, a friend of ours is really into Pokemon, competitive stuff, and always lets me know when there's stuff like that on. And I was looking, I think the thing that struck me is, okay, this is a 9-hour stream, there's 6 games. Because it takes that fucking long to get a game set up, and the game looks like shit. It's there's no dynamic camera angles. When it's supposed in the Pokemon battle was 3 fucking NPCs in the background doing the same looped animation of just waving their arms around for the full 15 minutes. It's clearly they've got a lot of money. This is an entire stadium full of people watching this.
Yeah, as mentioned, I think Pokemon Legends Arceus does a lot of interesting things and has a lot of cool ideas. I don't necessarily think that all of them pan out, but the main thing that I would just like more is the production value to the game.
Money. Yeah. How about you spend some of the billions of dollars you make every year in plush sales?
Yeah. That's the thing, right, is that this game sold 14.83 million copies by the end of March 2023. And that sold more than nearly every game PlayStation has ever produced, basically.
Yeah.
Not combined, just individually, but, I wonder at this point, whether they've got an updated list, because I know that Nintendo have their information on sales and stuff for Nintendo Switch on their website, and it's we go to Pokemon Arceus. Okay, no, they
Yeah, I say it's a running gag at this point that Pokemon always sells despite not making very good-looking games. And the bit earlier where I said, like, oh, is that game coming out in the next 2 days? That wasn't a bit. I legit didn't know the game was coming out because I swore off Pokemon after Scarlet and Violet and just went, mate, I'll watch some competitive stuff, so I've got friends who are into it. I'll talk about Pokemon because I've been a fan of the series for a decade. This company has completely lost me as a potential customer because they just keep making bad games. And I can't justify playing a bad game given how many good games are out there.
That's the thing, right? Is like, we're living in 2025 right now. People listening later on, we literally in the last month had Hollow Knight, Silksong, and Hades 2 come out.
Yes, both made by indie studios, which both look and play better than any Pokemon game released in the last 20 years.
If you want a good action RPG this year, Claire Obscure's right there.
Which was made by a skeleton crew of Ubisoft scraps.
That's what gets me, is the fact that I think there was a discussion happening around a cancelled Ubisoft game, and a lot of people were like, well, Ubisoft is shit anyway. It was Assassin's Creed, because they I don't know if you heard about
that. That game sounded awesome.
Yeah, they didn't have the balls to do a post Civil War kill all KKK Assassin's Creed game.
Which is weird because they made Assassin's Creed 3, which is the War of Independence.
But they were like, oh, well, the way America is right now, we don't want to make that game anymore. It's like, really? You fucking cowards.
It's that question. I just want to sit down a representative and ask them, who's going to be upset by you killing white supremacists? And why do you care if they're upset? Yeah,
and why are you, letting them... The people who are going to be upset, why are you letting them make your decisions for you?
Yeah, it happened on Twitter. Some dude I got sent to HR for wearing this shirt, and they stopped talking to me and told me to go back to work when I asked them who it upset. And he's wearing a T-shirt of just it's a thing that says kill members of the KKK. And he got sent to HR for wearing it, and then HR sent him straight back to his seat when he asked them to explain who exactly that was upsetting and why the company wanted to protect that person's feelings.
God, but yeah, people when talk about that, well, Ubisoft is shit anyway, and all the developers are rubbish and all this. It's maybe they're not. Similar to Game Freak, right? Where it's maybe they're not bad developers. Maybe they're just given not enough time to work on these games and not enough freedom as well.
Yeah, maybe there's I presumably you'd hope in any sort of creative industry, the people there who want to be there. People don't fall backwards into creative jobs because creative jobs require some kind of interest in that topic. People get worn down by those jobs, certainly. You hear about people working in the Call of Duty mines, right?
Yeah.
They lose any sort of creative vision or spark. But it was there at first before it got snuffed out by capitalism. There's probably a lot of people inside these companies who want to make good games, and they've got the idea for a good game in them, and they're just not able to express that.
I saw the laughable opinion being shared I saw quite a few comments well, they wouldn't have done the story well anyway because Ubisoft writers are bad. And it's do you know who came from Ubisoft? The people who made the best written game I've played in years. It's you can't tar everyone with that same brush when it comes to big corporate entity doesn't let creative people thrive. No, but Lucas, I don't like it. Everyone there is bad, and it's
But Lucas, I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone on YouTube who doesn't take a shower told me not to like it. And the best of it is, that could be describing anybody on YouTube. I'm not even going to piss anyone off specifically because that could describe any of those fuckers.
Oh no, I hadn't showered today yet, Karl. I showered yesterday.
Have you seen that? That's a thing. Okay, this is completely off topic, but
okay.
Are you familiar with the argument online for people who don't think you should shower?
Wait, what?
Okay, so a common bit of drama that keeps rearing its head on the internet, I think it gets recycled every couple of months, is when people argue about whether or not you should shower every day.
Okay, I don't necessarily think you need to shower every day, but most days, right?
Yeah, the idea of washing yourself from head to toe, but it happens all the time, and it came up recently with some Reddit thread of someone asking, hey, my boyfriend is like, won't sleep in the same bed as me because I won't shower? Am I being an arsehole by calling him a prick for not doing that? And it's like, if you're at the point where someone won't get in the same bed as you probably need to take a shower.
Like, is this person saying, like, if I don't shower that one day, you won't get in the same bed? Or is it like...
I don't know, but it always kickstarts this argument for people who don't shower and insist that they don't need to. And it's like, if people are telling you that you need to shower, you should probably take a shower.
Because, like, if I shower every single day, it tends to, like, dry out my hair and skin a lot. So, like, I'll normally average, like, I'd say about 5 times a week, like, just over every other day.
But imagine you wake up, though, and you put on a fresh set of clothes, fresh underwear, you wash your face, you groom.
Yeah, I groom.
People out there
like,
just...
also tend to have days where I'm only at home and not being very active. So, like, those are the days I'll choose not to shower. If I'm, like, at work, I'll always shower that day. So, yeah, it obviously depends, but, like, if you're going, like, days on end without a shower...
I think, as well, it's the thing of, when someone's telling you that you need to shower very politely, and your response to that is to get mad at them, which seemingly...
is to go to Reddit and be like, isn't my boyfriend an arsehole?
But then... you always have people coming out of the woodwork say, yeah, I don't shower every day. I don't get why people give me shit for it. It's like, if they're giving you shit for it, it's because you smell. And they're being too polite to say straight up, you smell?
Like, I've never had anybody tell me that I don't shower enough, so therefore I'm clearly showering enough.
It's like when you speak of Pokemon, like, you see those signs outside of, like conventions and events of, like, please adhere to regular grooming standards. And sometimes people get mad at being asked to do that. They're being mistreated by being asked of, like, can you shower?
Like,
can you put on a fresh t-shirt?
I think a lot of fighting game tournaments had to put it in the rules, right?
Smash Bros tournaments.
Was it only Smash Bros? I think I've heard of it happening at, like, other places as well. It might not be like at Evo.
That are running Smash Bros as one of the side tournaments.
Right, yeah.
And Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, fair. I remember going to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament once where I walked into the building and my glasses fogged up from the amount of sweat in there. And, like, fair enough, it probably wasn't air-conned or anything, but, like, that probably means that people aren't being very hygienic, right? Like, wear some antiperspirant and stuff, right?
Just put a fresh shirt on. Here's a pro tip. Like, 'cause that's it as well. Like, BO is a very distinctive smell, but most people become immune. They become nose blind to their own scent.
Yeah.
I have never, ever gotten to a point where any of my clothes have smelled that bad. And, like, I'm talking, like, gym stuff that I've kept. Mm-hmm. And, like, I wash my gym stuff once a week. It airs out every time I've been to the gym. And if I'm particularly sweaty, I'll change my undershirt. Mm-hmm. I've never gotten to a point where that gym stuff started to smell. And I'm exercising in that shit. How long are people leaving stuff for it to become baked in?
It's one of those things where, like, we're not harassing people if you have, like, body odor problems.
It's why I'm being very careful and diplomatic.
But you can still be hygienic and groomed, right? Like, you can still make that effort.
What fascinates me more is that it's the hostility to people asking what I think is the most reasonable question ever of, can you not smell?
I remember there being at least one case, I can't remember if it's multiple people or one person, that during Smash Bros. Tournaments have made comments saying, yes, I actively have not washed to put my opponent off.
Yes, it happened. There's a couple of times that happened. Magic the Gathering tournaments as well, because a lot of, like, card game tournaments will have sportsmanship rules, which is, like, you have to shake your opponent's hand. Basic sportsmanship of, like, you shake the person's hand. Some people have talked about, like, it's probably, like, a little bit exaggerated or apocryphal because it's, like, internet stuff, but there are tales of people doing this and having experienced it of, yeah, my opponent just deliberately didn't wash, and then when I didn't shake their hand, called the judge over and got me docked a point for refusing to shake their hand. That's next level. That's like poison damage in real life.
That is right. Like, goddamn.
It's such a specific smell, right, as well. You said you went to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and if anyone was watching the video, they saw my eyes go wide, because I've been there.
Yeah. But yeah, Karl, we'll get back to Pokemon Legends here.
Yes.
And
Sorry, that was just like, I remember reading it on Reddit earlier this week and just like, why are so many people so insistent that they don't smell? It's like when cat owners say cats don't smell. It's like they shit in a box in your bathroom. Would you leave shit in your toilet without... No.
It's like, I am very aware that I don't really smell my dogs, but like, if I've been away for a couple of days and come back, like, you can just smell it. And it's just that you become immune to that smell. And it's like, it's not a bad thing for animals to have a scent, right?
They've got a must, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can't stop it happening, but obviously you can, like, wash your pets. But, like,
or ventilate your house.
Yeah, people aren't sitting there going like, how dare you have a cat that smells like a cat? But just acknowledge that, yeah, your pets do smell, and yeah, just vent out your house a bit, put some candles on, wash your pets.
Candles are next level. Like, people like sleep on the scented candle, but I've ever told you about the funniest thing I've ever seen, speaking of like cats.
I thought you were going to go down the scented candle route of like people saying that candles don't smell anymore just as the rise of COVID hit.
Oh, right, yeah, that's a fun one. But no, it's
like, really?
It's like, my sister has a cat, Mr. Jasper. And I was visiting, she lives with my mum, I was visiting my mum. Mr. Jasper's litter box is in the bathroom. That's where the poop lives. And I was just there, coming from the pub once, like 1 o'clock in the morning, just sat on the toilet. I feel a bit worse for wear. Mr. Jasper comes in. I'm like, all right, Mr. Jasper, how you doing? And he goes into his litter box, but only his back end, his front part goes in, his back end's on the floor. And he just takes a huge shit right on the floor, and then kicks all of his litter box stuff out onto the bathroom floor, like fucking like caltrops for me to step over. Does that, and walks out and left the door open. And I'm just sat there with the door open, a cat shit on the floor in the dark.
The ultimate disrespect from Mr.
The disrespect.
Jasper.
You just know as well in his head, he's like, clean that up. Tell me more about Pokemon Arceus. Arceus.
So that's the thing about, like, cats, right? Is, just, at least dogs, when they're doing a poop, like, they look at you in shame and for safety. Yes. Cats are just like, fuck you.
Clean it up.
Yeah.
Which Pokemon do you think smells worst? Like, ignoring, like, ones like Muck or Coffee.
Like, Muck and Coffee and Trubbish.
Which
pollution trio.
Which Pokemon which people would commonly see as a pet, like Eevee or something like that, would you think smells the worst? Because I bet a lot of, like, the really fluffy ones. I bet Eevee smells if people don't groom it properly because it's so fluffy.
I mean, yeah, but, like, provided that it's groomed, obviously I don't think people would see Skunk Tank as a pet option, right? Like,
you could, because apparently skunks don't smell. Like, if you get a skunk as a pet, as long as it's, like, trained, they don't actually smell. It's only if they feel threatened that they'll use that.
They'll use and then obviously
then they smell. But, like, there's plenty of, like, people out there who own, like, skunks as pets. Like, they're like, were orphaned by the side of the road or something, or just people who collect exotic animals, I suppose, which is probably not a good idea. Don't do that.
No.
It's a skunk.
Yeah, I wonder, bad smelling ones. Maybe, like, a double or a go-go. I
mean, like, some that has a lot of... Oh, actually, go-go, because it has, like, the leaves around it, right? Yeah. I feel like there'll be a lot of, like, moss.
Mm-hmm.
The potential for, like, a lot of moisture to get lost in there. And
obviously these are, like farm animals. Like, the Mudsdale probably stinks as well, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Pillar Swine.
Yeah, because that's, like, so fluffy. But then I guess I feel like because it's so fluffy that there'd be no moisture caught in its fur.
Well, it's a furry pig.
True.
It's a giant furry pig. Obviously, Mama Swine, I don't think anyone's putting that on a farm. But you've probably got a Pillar Swine or two there, right?
Yeah. Have you seen those, like, you do get, like, fluffy pigs. They look awesome.
Yeah, fluffy pigs.
Like, so, like, rare breed of pig that grow, like, curly fur. They just look like really round sheep. Like,
I've seen, like, pigs with, like, thin hair on them and stuff, but I've not seen, like,
pigs.
proper fluffy
Tell me about
ones.
Pokemon Arceus, and I'll look up woolly pigs, and I'll send you a picture.
Well, as mentioned, you get sent back in time to the Hisui region, and I know that we've been off the rails on this one, everyone.
Yep.
It's Wiki Weekdays podcast, At some point you will expect some random tangents. But yes, the game is centered around exploration of the region, several open areas populated with Pokemon. with its main objective being to complete the Pokedex by catching all Pokemon, as usual. And yeah, there's no like grand Elite Four journey that you're aiming for, or gym badges that you have to go on. The point is that you're like trying to build up a Pokedex as like everyone is settling in this first settlement in the Hisui region. And yeah, it's interesting gameplay, but it's very simple. Like, most of the time that you're playing the game, it's going to be running around and throwing Pokeballs at things.
Yes, it's really not that in depth. And I've sent the picture of the woolly pig. It's the Mangalitsa, if anyone wants to look it up. Like Mangalit.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I actually have seen this. I'll save the image and put it on screen for people.
There we go. Like, if you're watching the video version, you can see like here's like a little woolly pig.
When I get it up.
Like I said, I like that the Pokemon Company were trying to innovate and change the really, really, really well-worn format of Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But as I joked about right at the start when you introduced the wiki for this week, I've got Monster Hunter, and everything that this game does differently, Monster Hunter does it better. Right down to I think, something that really shocked me when I was watching you play the game. And I remember asking, she was streaming it, have you got the sound changed? It's like for streaming, sometimes people put music in the background. Like, have you muted, say, for example, the dialogue? So you can play music in the background so it doesn't, clash with your dialogue. And you're like, no, there's no sound for any of the dialogue.
Yeah,
and
so
it's just complete silence as you read text.
There's no voice acting, but I think
there's also not even sound effects.
I was going to say, there's sound effects, but when you pointed out to me, hey, is there, any music going on or anything? I was like, wait, no, there isn't.
I thought you'd turn that off, to play music in the background on stream.
And there is obviously music in the game, but so many times in the game, it'll just be the ambient noise is just nothing.
And keep in mind as well, for these sections where you're getting given a mission or story stuff, there's no it is just character model stud text, which can work. But usually in games where that's the case, in more modern games, there is sound effects. And I think to Undertale, where Undertale is so simple. It is 2D imagery, but when there's text, you get every letter has a little sound effect.
So, for example, when you would use Undertale as the example when Banjo-Kazooie is right there.
Well, but I was thinking Undertale because of how simple that art style is.
Yeah.
And
I'm joking. Yeah,
it's so simple, and you have just a sprite, and when Sans is talking and how much personality do you get from Sans from a sprite, text, and a single repeating sound effect?
And a lot of those sound effects are unique for each character as well.
Unique for each character
across with personality, right?
But still very simple. Or something like Monster Hunter. They don't have, I think in more modern ones, they do have an English language option, but I always turn on Monster Hunter language, which is their own made-up cipher language, where it's just random noises. And say, for example, when you talk to someone, it's blah, 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 text. Nice. Next section, blah, 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 text. And it's just, it's better than complete stony fucking silence of a shitty-looking character model that doesn't move. They don't Nintendo, even animate.
No, Nintendo have been doing it with Animal Crossing since Animal Crossing came out on the N64.
Tomodachi Life. That was really fun. Well, that's
the weird AI voices, but I think it fits the weird ass tone of that game.
Do you know what? It's charming. It's better than complete silence.
Yeah.
Even the original Pokemon games had background noise and sounds, and each new dialogue window came with a little click. Each time it comes up for new text.
And it might come up with a noise, but I think you might have joined the stream when it was near the end game as well, where the quest lines were go and speak to this person, go through loading screen, go speak to this person, go through loading screen, go fight one monster, okay, go back to the other person, through another couple of loading screens, and talk to this person, and then this person, and then this person. And just, there's so much of the end game where it is just loading screens and, basic dialogue with no music and no voice acting and no animation. And it really...
was baffling to me. It was that Spartan.
Yeah.
It looked so dead. It looked like early access.
Yeah, it does feel like when Pal World like came out, and people were like, oh yeah, it's like a bit barren, but it's in early access. I'm sure they'll add more. Like Pokemon games have felt like that at times, and I think Arceus is a very good example of that. Of like there's a lot of like decent ideas in here, and I really like the idea of like, hey, you can run around and just catch Pokemon without like actually having to battle every single time. Like,
yes,
the game requires you catch many of the same species to fill out the Pokedex and do like research on them. That's kind of
very
how
similar
you do
to
research.
Monster Hunter, where Monster Hunter you'll hunt the same monster over and over again to grind out the items that it drops, and you can carve from it to make new gear. And that's
exactly,
the gameplay loop of that kind of game, which is replicated in Arceus.
You can say Arceus, I'm not going to pull you up.
I want to learn the correct pronunciations, because I want to be a commentator one day.
That's true.
Never give up hope. What's something one of our friends was talking to me of, like, I'm not going to say like where they live, but they were talking like someone was on stream, like, you know that person like lives near me? Like, what? So yeah, I see him at like my local game shop all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Say, you know what? Never give up hope. Even though I've shit on the Pokemon game, and I bet Pokemon do a massive fucking back search. They'll probably check my social media and like, his Pokemon social score's a bit too low. Don't let him
in. But yeah, like the game has like 5 different biomes, each of which have like Pokemon that make sense. And I will say that does mean that when you go to like the Icy Mountain region, it does get a bit bland. Because, like, hey, it's just all ice Pokemon near enough. But I like the idea of actually having Pokemon in an area that suits them. It's similar to, like, when you... I think the first example I can think of is when you go to, like, the... it's the mountain in Gen 3. I can't remember what it's called, but there's, like, the fiery mountain that you go up, right?
Oh, yeah. I know that it's Ash Mountain or something, right? It's the one that's covered in ash.
Ash Mountain,
but it's not covered in ash, right?
Yeah, and you go up there, and like there's a lot of like, Torkoals and things like that up there, and it makes sense as to why they're all in one area. And obviously they've been doing that with like the surf mechanic for a long time, but it doesn't often make sense when you're just going through grass why all these Pokemon are the same area.
I always think to the desert. I always found the desert really fun because you'll walk through the desert and bump into the cactus Pokemon.
You'll bump into like Cacturns or Cacneas or like the Trapinches as well.
The Trapinches, which hide under the ground, like it's the Antlion, I think they're based on, which do something similar in our world.
Trap Pokemon, right? Like that big trap mouth, and I still don't get the Trapinch to Vibrava.
Yeah, that's
evolution.
You might be able to answer this. I've not looked anything up about like Pokemon Pizarre. Are we getting Mega Flygon? Because that's something like the Mega people have wanted for literally 5 generations.
There's just been leaks that have come out, and I'm not looking at the leaks. As far as official...
Please don't post them in our Discord. Like, Lucas is a huge Pokemon fan. I like Pokemon. I'm not buying the game.
Yeah, like,
I have it
pre-ordered. I'm going to be playing it, but I have not looked into any leaks or anything. But as far as I'm concerned, official trailers have not revealed a Mega Flygon, but it would be a cool surprise if they kept that a secret, right?
I know fans want it. I don't, because I'm so sick of Megas being dragons.
Mm.
I think Flygon is already strong enough, because people don't know a Mega is just like, they take a Pokemon and they give it a Mega evolution. So it makes it just better. Not always are. I know some Megas are worse on paper, because the Pokemon they Mega evolved from are already so strong competitively.
There's a few like that, like
Aggron,
Scizor, Garchomp. There's probably a couple of others that I'm not thinking off the top of my head, but basically that they're better served having a useful item than they are having the stat points, right?
Yes, and I like the idea of using Mega Evolution to give Pokemon that aren't good competitively or are overlooked just a new lease on life. Like they had, Mega Manectric.
Well, I mean, that didn't get the best Mega, but look at Kangaskhan, for example. Like, the best Mega to ever exist is Mega Kangaskhan.
Yes, and I like that idea.
Who was using Kangaskhan before it got a Mega, right? Nobody was using Kangaskhan.
And Flygon is already a pretty decent Pokemon, so I don't feel it needs.
I mean, it doesn't
Mega
get
Evolution.
used competitively. It's pretty
That's the
damn
thing.
low tier. So,
That's the shame. So I get maybe it would give it a new lease on life. Then, 'cause I do like Flygon. I think Flygon's a cool Pokemon.
I think it deserves one because I think Flygon, even in Gen 3, was not competitively viable. And
I guess it exists in the same gen as Tyranitar, right? And it's like, what the fuck are you going to use a Flygon for when Tyranitar's right there?
Tyranitar's right there, like Salamancer's right there, Latias and Latios are right there. Just it just never got its time to shine, which, admittedly, it's way stronger than, like, a Burnett is. So
you know what? You've sold me.
Way more deserving, but yeah, I totally think Flygon's, like, been overshadowed its entire life and therefore should, get some light.
I just think it was a really interesting idea until they started saying, okay, here's Mega Mewtwo. It's like, fuck you, Mewtwo's already one of the strongest, best Pokemon you've ever made. Why would you make it even stronger? And then have an officially endorsed Pokemon tournament where you're allowed to use one Mega, and you don't limit people to using Megas that aren't super powerful, so people just obviously pick fucking Mega Rayquaza every single time.
Yeah, would you like a Mega Rayquaza that doesn't even need a Mega Stone? It's like, what are you doing? Why? It was
such an interesting idea until they said, fuck it, Mewtwo's got one. It's like, Mewtwo's already super good.
Oh, and like the same with like the Primal Kyogre and Groudon, right?
Yeah, let's put people don't know weather conditions in Pokemon were introduced in Gen 3.
Yeah.
And until Gen 5 they were permanent, so some of them give effects like Sandstorm is just every turn you take damage. If you had a Pokemon that could set Sandstorm, your opponent would take damage for the entire rest of the game.
And at some point, I don't remember whether it was originally there, but they definitely at some point introduced, like, it gives, I think, rock Pokemon a special defense buff or something as well.
50% special defense buff. And then there's like Rain, where Rain gives all water Pokemon a 50% boost to all of their water type attacks, on top of what's known as same type attack bonus, Stab, which does what, Lucas?
It gives you a 1.5 times a multiplier on any move of the same type.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly how the math works, because Pokemon math is weird, but it essentially gave you double damage on all water-type moves, and then a lot of water-type Pokemon... Sorry. a lot of water-type Pokemon had a ability called Swift Swim, which doubles their speed in rain. Mm-hmm. So it effectively made a lot of water-type Pokemon twice as strong and twice as fast, and that weather condition lasted the entirety of the game, unless your opponent set another weather condition. And that's why that gen was known competitively as the Weather Wars, because basically the entire game revolved around setting up the weather that benefited your team and stopping your opponent from doing the same.
Yeah, I think that Gen 5 became like the Weather War gen, and like then after that they were like, okay, now it lasts like 5 turns unless you hold a held item, and then they in Gen 6, in fact, so they didn't even give it a full generation. They made Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where they made Primal Kyogre, Primal Groudon, and Mega Rayquaza, which all set up another version of Infinite Weather.
Yeah, and they set up like the super version of Rain and a super version of Blazing Sun. And once they were up, they were permanent. The only way to stop it was Mega Rayquaza, which made those 3 Pokemon basically a must-have for every single team. And it got to the point where weather was so useful competitively, people would deliberately go into battle with a lower than needed level Groudon, because the slower Pokemon set up its weather condition second, which meant it overrid the other one. So people would say, well, weather is so useful, I would deliberately underlevel my strongest Pokemon, because weather's more useful than having it have better stats.
Because if they, for example, send out like a level 50 Primal Kyogre, that sets up their rain, but then if you send out your Primal Groudon, it then is slower and sets the sun straight afterwards, right?
Yes.
And then they also did the whole, like, I can't remember what the effect was for Mega Rayquaza. Was it like Delta Stream or something, which set up...
Just got rid of everything.
But it set up, like, the air weather.
Yes, for itself.
Also gave flying types no weaknesses, so it lost its like weaknesses for like ice and electric and stuff, so it like resisted electric again, and it like it wasn't 4 times weak to ice, which is the biggest weakness. So it's like, not only did they give one of the strongest Pokemon more stats, they also took away its greatest weakness as well.
Yeah,
like,
and it got to the point where, keep in mind, for like competitive Pokemon, which is 2-on-2, you take 4 Pokemon into that battle. You can take 6 with you, but you pick 4 from those 6.
4 of the 6, yeah.
So every team had a Rayquaza and a Groudon or a Kyogre. So effectively, 50% of every competitive team was the exact same Pokemon, which, I'm going to be honest, does not make for interesting viewing.
No. And obviously, people couldn't bring Kyogre and Groudon. They had to pick one
or the other, and then build their entire team around. And I get the idea of having a ringer on your team and building your team around your one powerful Pokemon. It's like an RTS having a hero unit. You build stuff to support that hero unit because it's your most useful, powerful thing.
But when you've got 800 Pokemon and everyone's picking the same 2 Pokemon to build a team around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, when you've got a pool of 800 Pokemon to pick from and people pick from a pool of 20, and every competitive team in the top 60 is some variation of that same 20 Pokemon with minor variation, that doesn't... It baffles me that competitive Pokemon is as popular as it is, because it's so boring sometimes.
Well, I think like they've done a really good job in Scarlet and Violet of making different regulations to keep things interesting, and also like some of the introductions they made with like terrestrialization and just some of the new Pokemon. It has made for like every single like season of Pokemon competitively having very different team builds and methods.
That is a push towards what I feel would be a healthier and more viewer-friendly like competitive environment. Like, just each season, however long a season lasts, just say, okay, these Pokemon are banned.
Yeah,
like just look at the top 20 used most Pokemon. Okay, they're banned.
Like, obviously they haven't been banning all of the top Pokemon. Like, Incineroar's still like ruling the roost, but
isn't there like an argument that that's the single best Pokemon ever made?
Yeah,
I've seen like breakdowns of like Incineroar might be the single greatest Pokemon they've ever made. It's perfect on paper. There's nothing it can't do.
Competitive results, it already like, you know, considering how many years it's been out, which is a couple of generations, like it's been out less than a decade, and it's got like the most wins ever, or something like that, or wins per year. You know, if you take into account like, for example, Tyranitar's had like double the amount of time to get results or whatever. Like, yeah Incineroar is just the most successful Pokemon in terms of competitive viability.
Yeah, and as a result of being so successful, it basically kills like build variety because you need it. It reminds me to an extent of, we talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! Once, and a very nice fan sent me a breakdown of why Pot of Greed was banned. And Pot of Greed in that game is just a card you play, lets you draw 2 cards. And which is already very powerful in a game that's about having as many cards as possible in your hand, so you can, you know, get your game plan rolling. And the way they explained it to me in this like nice message they sent is, it was objectively the perfect card because it was objectively the correct choice 100% of the time to put it into your deck and then play it as soon as you got it.
Because you get one more card.
You get one more card, yes. People don't know in like that game, you can have a deck up to 60 cards, but no one ever does that because you want as few cards as possible to maximise your odds of drawing the cards that you need, and you want as many copies as you're legally allowed of each of the cards that you have to, again, maximise your odds of drawing the correct amount that you need to get your game plan going. And as a result, Pot of Greed was the perfect card because it basically gave you one less card in your deck.
Yeah, and
for zero cost.
Like, yeah, there's no downsides to playing it, and that's why, you know, there's things like Jar of Greed instead, right, which are more balanced. But yeah, like Pot of Greed essentially made your deck go from 40 card deck limit to ostensibly, in practice, a 39 card deck.
Yes, and if you could have like up to 4 copies of it, it's now like a. It's like your deck is now.
I think you were only ever allowed 1 copy, right? Or like
yes,
maybe that
initially
happened
3.
later.
Initially
Initially 3,
yeah.
Was it? Right, yeah.
Just the specific wording that stuck with me of, it was the objectively correct decision 100% of the time to put it into your deck, which they banned because it's like, well, everybody needs this thing. It's not competitive for everybody to need this. Otherwise, you can't play because you are you are at an objective numerical disadvantage for not having this card.
Yeah, and as Karl says, like, it might sound to some people who are maybe unfamiliar with Yu-Gi-Oh! That like,
we're talking complete bollocks right now. We might as well be speaking fucking like
maybe just
French.
trading cards in general. Like, people might think, but if you're allowed 60 cards, why would you not have 60 cards? But yeah, it increases your odds of getting the exact cards that you want, the lower amount of cards you have. So therefore, when I say that, like, Pot of Greed is, we haven't even mentioned what it does. You play Pot of Greed and you draw 2 cards. And there's no downsides, there's no sacrifice to play. It is just, for 1 card, you get 2. So therefore, like, it is essentially like making you have 1 less card in your deck.
Yeah, and the reason you want as few cards as possible in your deck is because the fewer cards you have, the greater your odds of drawing the cards that you need in that exact moment. So, like 90% of like the competitive aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is minimizing risk and minimizing the chance.
The thing is, though, like, everyone's just a sucker because they all put Pot of Greed in the card, like, but realistically, they should just be believing in the heart of the cards.
Yeah.
The Fool's card.
Like fucking Yugi top decking Sly for the Sky Dragon, what a hero. Do you know, I've been watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Again for that series we've been talking about working on.
Yeah, you mentioned like the other day that you've been, during one of the recordings, that you've been watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, and like, yeah, and you know, when Karl says we're working on something, the secret is we always have new ideas and are always working behind the scenes on something, but we don't necessarily always follow through. So, like, yeah.
That's why I'm not telling you specifically what it is, audience at home. But yeah, there's
when we're talking about creative people earlier, right? It's like, the secret is creative people have probably too many ideas and not all of them happen.
So I was one in my writing days of a good, like, over 50% easily of the ideas I had would be scrapped. And you have to be really brutal when it comes to, like, when I was freelancing. Of, like, I'd work on an idea, pitch it, it didn't get accepted, filter through which ideas on here are interesting, which, like, facts are interesting enough I feel I could retool them into another argument or article. What stuff's useless, scrap the rest. I ain't got time to, like, retool it. I have to work on a new thing.
And obviously that's very different from when, like, people talk about, like, I know a good example is Squid Game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of, like, the author and the writer knew that they had a good idea on their hands and they persisted. But sometimes you've also got to know when to give it up.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously that's very different from, like, article writing, where it's a lot less committal than, like, writing an entire series or something.
It is indeed, yes. We have been rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! In anticipation of that new project we're hoping to work on.
Mm-hmm. And just, like, watching all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cheating just constantly.
I can't believe we top deck Sly for the Sky Dragon. What a ledge.
But, you know, before we move on from Pokemon Go, I know we haven't talked too much about the game specifically, but...
What game?
No, it is a game.
I'm being facetious. So.
Yeah, and there are a lot of, like, unique ideas, so just wanted to bring up a couple of them before we move on. And one thing is that I really like the idea of having alpha Pokemon in the wild, which are, like, basically mini-boss Pokemon. So you'll come across, like, a Snorlax that is giant with red eyes that just wants to charge at you and attack you. And it gets quite tense at times, like, genuinely. It has a feeling of, like, you know, the fear will set in because a Snorlax will lock onto you with these, like, blood demon eyes, charge right at you, and they will attack the player and just knock you out.
Yeah.
And send you back to a checkpoint.
As it should be. Get the fuck out of my swamp.
As it should be, right? It's like, there should be those Pokemon that are like, no, fuck you, this is my place, like, go away. It's like, obviously Pokemon is a very tame version of taming creatures, right?
Yeah, it's very child-friendly by design.
But the idea of, like, no, animals in the wild, yeah, if you go hunting, if you go trying to capture a lion in the wild, it's probably going to come back at you. And I really appreciated that version. I was like, no, not every Pokemon is just going to be safe to encounter.
Yeah, especially when it's set in the past, right? Before the relationship between Pokemon and humans was as it is presented in the games in the series.
You're literally
where they live
like,
in harmony. They've not yet been crushed spirit-wise and forced to live under the boot heel of man yet. They still had some semblance of autonomy and sentience. We had to get rid of that.
Yeah, they are using like the first ever Pokeballs to be created, like the prototype Pokeballs, basically.
The first ever Poke Prisons.
Poke Prisons. But Karl, like the game talks about the fact that the Pokeballs are comfy inside.
Yeah, I'm sure prisons are comfy inside as well. It's like, they're comfy inside. Are they allowed to leave? No, not until I say so. Again, I'm being facetious. I'm sure they're lovely.
But it does say that the game having multiple areas and hub system instead of fully open world resulted in reviewers comparing the game to the Monster Hunter series.
I'm guessing compared poorly. Monster Hunter's refined that to a mirror sheen.
I think a lot of people, when reviewing this game, gave it the like Pokemon glaze of like, no, this is super close to Monster Hunter. And
it's what people always say, right? If a Pokemon game got released, like if Scarlet and Violet got released and it didn't have the Pokemon logo on it,
if it had a Digimon badge on instead.
Yeah, if it was just like, here is like, an RPG where you collect things, it would have got 5-6 out of 10.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of when J.K. Rowling, she wrote a book under like that assumed name.
Oh, yeah.
Like J.K. Rowling presenting under different gender pronouns. Can you believe it? But like there was a review of that first book that says, you know what, it's a good effort for a first-time author. And as soon as obviously got revealed that it was her, then it suddenly got good reviews. And I think that writer took their review back and changed it.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing is, both
it's hard to look at something objectively, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet have good ideas that aren't necessarily executed very well, but still got all right reviews.
I still look at the reviews for Scarlet and Violet. I'm actually curious, what reviewers gave it, because for me, it killed any interest I had in that continuing to play that series.
I remember listening to a podcast with Rebecca Valentine on it, who mentioned that I think they gave it a 7 out of 10 on IGN and got absolute guff for it. And it's no, I think Scarlet and Violet probably was about a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's fair. That's fair. I'd give it lower just based on the amount of money that they have. Because you can understand the level of quality that was on display is unforgivable given the sheer amount of money behind the franchise. There is no excuse for having that poor a quality. The game crashed. The animations were terrible. There's just some stuff just plain didn't work. It ran.
I still remember when it came out on the Switch 2 with the Switch 2 update, and people were like, "Oh man, the game is totally fixed and it's like a brand new game. Look, the windmill animates." It's okay.
Yeah. So Metacritic gave weirdly Violet got 1 less point overall on Metacritic. It's 71, and Scarlet is 72. But yeah, 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Famitsu, 38 out of 40. That's a 1 10 on 10. And 3. No, 2 10 on 10
and 2 10s. Yeah,
and there it is. There's the Pokemon Glaze. Famitsu, the Japanese publication, giving Pokemon near perfect scores for a game where it doesn't work.
Yeah, especially before a couple of updates. So they were doing review version of the game where it was actively just crashing people's consoles often.
Also, I cannot stress this enough. It looks like shit.
It looks awful.
It looks terrible.
And don't get me wrong.
Apparently that got a near perfect score. Do you know what I'm going to check now? What did Famitsu give fucking Claire Obscure?
If they reviewed it, yeah.
Let's have a look.
I do want to mention, by the way, we're being down on Pokemon.
Famitsu, they gave it a 36 out of 40.
So they're saying that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a better RPG than Claire
Obviously, the way they do their reviews. Do you want to explain how Famitsu does reviews?
So they have 4 reviewers review the game, and they each give it a score out of 10. So, yeah, realistically, either... With Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, for example, they gave a 38 out of 40, which means at least 2 people need to give it a 10 out of 10, if not 3.
Yeah, so
and then the other reviewers would give it either 1 8 or 2 9s.
So effectively perfect reviews. And Claire Obscure, one of the greatest games I've ever played, 36 out of 40. And obviously, that might not have been the same group of reviewers, but you'd expect like an entire publication to have at least some consistency.
Yeah, it's I mentioned IGN earlier. Not every reviewer at IGN is going to necessarily give every game the same score, but they do have a scale that each point reflects a word on their scale. So, like, 10 out of 10 means like a masterpiece, and 7 out of 10 means okay. And it's basically just like what word reflects your review, like what emotion do you have attached to it? It's like, is it okay? Is it great? Is it mediocre? Is it bad? Like, that feeling then translates to a score on that scale.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest fan of the whole thing of like just boiling something down to its review. Like in regards to Pokemon, was the infamous like too much water review that is still a meme to this day.
Again,
even
I think
though
was
that
Rebecca
review
Valentine.
Was that Rebecca Valentine who did that as well? Because that review is completely valid. So do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so the too much water review. Do you want to just double check while I explain?
Go on.
Who the reviewer was, because I think that was Rebecca Valentine as well.
Do you know what? Rebecca Valentine, fucking absolutely incredible, on point Pokemon.
Opinions.
Genuinely. Like they've been on the fucking money every
Very
time.
honest about like, no, I'm not going to let like the Pokemon franchise affect my scores, but
no, that was Cali Plague.
Oh, Cali Plague. Okay, yeah. No wonder they left IGN, because they got a lot of shit. Like, I remember the review got like horrible comments on.
Even though it's a completely valid review, and it's the reason why it's really I don't like people boiling stuff down to a single point, like the number that's given or the broad overview, is because explain. This frustrates me to this day.
Yeah, with a review like that on a lot of big websites, what they'll do is put like a summation at the bottom of like, here's a couple of bullet points to say what my pros were for the review and what my cons were for the review. And one of the cons for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire was just summated to too much water, which sounds silly.
Yeah, it's like, that's what people framed it as, right? Look at IGN complaining it was too much water. Mm-hmm. What even is that as a review? It's like, well, if you read the actual review, it says what?
It has literally like paragraphs explaining, hey, so this has a lot of water, which means you have a lot of time surfing very slowly. Just let me clear my throat, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. But like Luke's going to say, like, you have in Pokemon, one of the ways you can move around is you have HMs, hidden mechanics, and they've been done away with in later Pokemon games because they crater your ability to create builds and build the team of Pokemon that you want, because you effectively need to have one, later two, and in some cases 3 Pokemon that learn those moves just to explore the game world. And in Ruby and Sapphire, it's especially difficult because you needed what, Lucas?
So you needed one Pokemon to have 4 different water HMs, which entirely tanks one slot on your team. And it also is very slow when you're traveling across the water. You constantly get into random battles. You then also have, like, again, the horrible thing of, like, not only do you need surf, you need dive, you need waterfall, you need whirlpool. And that actively slows down the game, makes it a grind, makes it punishing, and just like not fun to play.
One slot on your team is now dedicated to a useless water Pokemon that does nothing but these 4 moves, because competitively, and even a casual playthrough, that's a useless Pokemon. Or you can split those water moves across 2 different water Pokemon, and now you've got 2 useless slots on your team, in addition to a third, potentially 4th slot to have like Fly, Strength, Cut, Flash.
Yeah.
So you can effectively have over half of your team full of useless fodder Pokemon that do nothing but help you traverse the world with these useless moves. And that was summated by the reviewer by saying what?
Just said too much water at the bottom. And it's like, okay, that sounds silly when you scroll to the bottom and don't read the review. Yeah. If you read the review, it's like, here's why the amount of water in this game is so bad. And it's like, well, they didn't even explain it. It's like, did you read the review? Well, no, I didn't. Well, it's like...
Yep. And you know what? To this day, people still use that as an example of why you shouldn't listen to game reviewers, even though it's explained. I've had someone in real life, I was talking to them about this, where they joked about that, and I went, well, did you ever actually read that review? And they went, no. And I explained what you explained there, and I asked them, don't you hate that you need like two HM dedicated Pokemon with water typing to traverse the world? I'm like, yeah, that's really annoying. I went, well, yeah, that's why there's too much water. Why didn't they say that in the review? They did. You didn't read it. Oh.
It's like, and combined with the fact that, yeah, the movement is slower because you can't be on a bike or anything, and every time you're in water, like, all of water is an area where you can get random battles. Like, when you're trying to, like, get out of grass, and you're like, oh, encountered another Pokemon, that's, like, every time you're in water, that is happening.
Yeah, and it's really, really frustrating. And to this day, as mentioned, people still bring that up completely without the context. That I imagine 90% of the people who bring it up would agree with the sentiment if they knew the explanation behind it. Because I've never heard anyone defend the amount of surfing and HM use in Ruby and Sapphire.
Literally, the next generation got rid of HMs.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah, like Pokemon Sun and Moon gave you the move Pokemon instead, which alleviates the issue. And
that's why I don't like summing up, this publication has shit opinions because I don't like the review. Maybe they explain it, because I did look up like the Claire Obscure thing of like, hey, Famitsu, part of the reason to get a bad review, the Japanese translation's not great. Fair. But still.
Okay.
I'd still say, like, well, surely the Japanese translation of the Pokemon game was good, which means that, did you look at it? Did you look at how bad it looked?
Yeah. There's a lot of other things in Pokemon to be knocked, right?
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to mention that is good and positive about Legends Arceus is you might not be aware that they added in the turn-based battles that they do in that game, they added a strong and agile move system.
I did like that, yeah, like modifiers to your moveset to just add variety.
Yeah, you can essentially make your move more powerful by, like, I don't know the exact math it does, but basically you'll make your Pokemon use a stronger but slower move so that your opponent might attack multiple times before you use your strong attack. Or you can do the opposite of have an agile attack that will attack first but will be weaker. And I love the idea of just adding that little like modifier on top of the turn-based battles where, like, you know, say for example, like, oh, that Pokemon's on very low HP. I don't need a strong attack and I haven't got a priority move, but I can just use an agile attack to eke it out a little bit because I'm normally slower.
Just the idea of, like, just adding more options and variety to combat. I'm always a fan of that. Like, anything that adds, like, you know, a new layer of skill and competitiveness to it. But there was no competitive elements in that game, right? And none of those systems were folded into the actual competitive aspect.
No, and it's very odd because, like, the Pokemon don't have abilities and stuff. So, like, it's, I think, a similar thing with Pokemon Legends EA where, like, there's some... I'm not going to get too into the depths because I can't speak confidently on it right now. There's some weird element with Pokemon Home where, like, Pokemon from Legends EA, like, can't be put into Pokemon Home or will be put into Pokemon Home, but it won't work.
That's its own mess, right? Pokemon Home.
And, like, yeah, I don't want to speak confidently on the ins and outs and, you know, the do's and don'ts and stuff on that. But, yeah, it's going to be very similar with Pokemon Legends EA, where the Pokemon and the battle mechanics are so different that there's going to be some weird compatibility between everything.
Yeah, it's no longer Pokemon Home, it's Pokemon Lockdown. You're not allowed to leave. Like, they always say, like, Pokemon's like a couple generations behind, right? And they've apparently Lockdown's just arrived in Pokemon, so your Pokemon can't leave. They're stuck at home.
It hasn't just arrived. It arrived with fucking Dexit.
Yeah, that's mean they're not allowed to leave home. They're stuck there now. They're not allowed out.
Yeah, like the amount of Pokemon that I always go to, like...
There's a Pokerus epidemic. They can't leave Pokemon home. Fuck you.
Yeah, like, there's what? Still hundreds of Pokemon that are locked to Pokemon Home and can't
just trapped there forever.
Violet.
It's nice inside, though.
It's going to be fine. But anyway, Karl, we should probably move over to your wiki.
Yeah, we can do. You ready to just jump straight into my wiki?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so, as people probably guessed from the Pet of the Week, and my admissions that I'm only covering spooky topics for this October, the wiki I brought forward is for Goosebumps. Not specifically like the show, but just Goosebumps as a brand. And Lucas, were you a fan of Goosebumps books or the show as a kid?
Yeah, I know we talked about it to some degree last year. Like, I read a couple of the books, and I always liked the covers of the books, but I was mainly like a Goosebumps watcher rather than reader.
Okay, so I've got in front of me now the wiki on just like Goosebumps the series. So Goosebumps is a series of children's horror novels written by large-penised American author R.L. Stine. The protagonists in these stories are children, teens, or preteens who find themselves in frightening or spooky circumstances, often involving the supernatural, the paranormal, or the occult. And in front of me now, I've got two of my favourite childhood Goosebumps books. These are the ones I managed to save from my childhood home before my dad just threw everything away. And they are Monster Blood 4 and Deep Trouble 2. Sequels,
I love
baby.
The fact that, like, one of them is just a fish.
Oh, it's
one of the
Deep
covers
Trouble.
is just a fish.
That's a spooky, scary fish right there.
It's just a fish with red eyes. Like, Brooksish looks scarier than that fish.
Oh, Brooksish is terrifying. I'm going to read the description for Monster Blood 4 and Deep Trouble 2. So this is Monster Blood 4. Evan can't stop thinking about Monster Blood, the evil green slime that never stops growing, and that once turned him into a freakish giant. Evan knows that once you open a can of Monster Blood, you're doomed. And now there's a new strain of Monster Blood in town. This time the slime is blue. And that's not the only difference. There's the ways it keeps multiplying, the eyes and the sharp, sharp teeth. And I still recall one of the details from this one is that the Monster Blood, it grows when it drinks water. And they talk about how, like, it's an image that's stuck in my head as he looks outside and sees the Monster Blood sucking the moisture out of the grass, leaving behind, like, just dark, dead patches of grass. Obviously, it never gets too violent. No one dies in these stories. But your child imagination can be like, oh no, that's really scary. What if that got me? It was water in me.
Yeah, like, I do find it funny, it being a kid's book. It's like, well, this time, the slime is blue.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously, yeah, we're adults talking about children's novels here. I love the books, but, like, yeah, it's a weird thing to lean with, like, to start with. It's blue this time, not, hey, it's got monstrous teeth and it's going to drain you of your water.
Well, like, Pokemon's baby's first monster one, so this is baby's first horror book. So the Deep Trouble 2. Billy Deep and his sister Sheena are spending another summer on their uncle's floating lab in the Caribbean. Last year, Billy made one of the most shocking discoveries in the history of marine biology. This year, Billy's looking to find something really big, and he soon finds it, or rather, them. While he and Sheena swim and snorkel, the fish are gathering and growing. And with their monster-sized bodies comes a monster-sized appetite. The fish are biting back. And here's one of the things I like about Goosebumps books, got on the back here, by Scholastic. UK, £3.99. Pocket money for a little bit of literature.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe a couple of weeks of pocket money for me back as a kid, but still, yeah, affordable.
Yeah, and, one of the things I've always wanted to own is like one of the full sets of Goosebumps books. Like every time I go to a charity shop, or like go to like a discount bookshop, I look for copies of Goosebumps books, and they're almost never there. And I remember asking like the shopkeep once, like, "Do you ever get Goosebumps book in?" It's like, "Yeah, millennials grab them straight away." Like millennials spot them and go, "I want that," and just grab it straight away. They're never on shelves as well.
Hundreds of Karls out there looking for
especially with how bright and colourful they are. They stand out. They have a lot of shelf appeal. Like they instantly stand out, and I want to get as many of them as I can. I can never fucking find them.
And yeah, I was going to say as well. Obviously, we're not a YouTube channel that's dedicated towards like kid-friendly content. But if anyone's got kids out there, if they ever get invited to go on a floating lab in the middle of the sea, do not let them go.
Don't do it. Jaws
Don't
will get
do
you.
it. That sounds like a terrible idea.
But I'm a big fan of the idea of Goosebumps, of introducing children to concepts that's spooky in a way that's friendly towards them and their sensibilities, right? Like, and one of the things R.L. Stine talks about in interviews is like, look, kids are a lot more... They're able to process a lot more than we give them credit for, as long as it's presented to them in a way that's suitable for them and their age.
That's the thing. It's like, I'm a person that has no interest in children. I feel uncomfortable around children because I don't really know, like, how to speak to them at what age. Because
we've got nothing in common.
No, like, we've only got Pokemon in common. That's all. And that's the one thing that I have as like a trump card is that I remember, say for example, like my dad's like step grandkids. He was like, "Oh, one of them's really into Pokemon." I was like, "Well, I guess I can at least talk to them about that briefly, right?" It's like I've just got the trump card of like I at least know all of the Pokemon, so I can talk to them about their favorite Pokemon. But
Yeah.
Other than that, like I never understand the like kind of point where children become like treat them as adults rather than
like when they start to develop
babies.
their own sense of self and independence, at which point they'd start perhaps like reading something like a Goosebumps book, because they start to develop their own interests like outside of the hopefully very carefully curated environment that their parents have made for them, so that they're not being exposed to stuff that is unsuitable for them.
Because I'm totally in line with the idea of don't treat kids like idiots. Like, they can process a lot more than you would assume they can.
As long as it's presented in a way that's suitable, yes.
I don't know at what point that starts, because I can't approach a toddler and be, so what did you think about like R.L. Stein's novels then? But yeah, I just have that weird thing where I'm not interested in children, so I don't have much experience with them, and just don't really care to change that either. So I just really don't know when you start treating them like they're human beings.
Yeah, that reminds me, it's a little bit off topic, but Joe, speaking of someone reacting to something and not having the full context, I'm reminded of there's like a Breaking Bad shitpost community on Reddit.
Of course.
And one of as there is for every like fandom, and one of like the most upvoted things they've ever made is like someone saying, do you know where like Walt takes his baby and they have like Skylar screaming on the street? Someone just screenshot that and put, "Why is Skylar crying? She have a new Holly for like 6 months." And obviously that's a joke, but that like escapes containment of like that shitpost community. And someone on Twitter's like, "I can't believe people lack this level of media literacy." And it's like, oh my god, the level of like irony here is palpable. Of this is someone criticizing lack of media literacy who doesn't understand a very basic joke.
That's a fantastic joke.
It's like, so good, that one. It's like the other one is like when Walt looks down at the plate and it's smashed and he starts like panicking, so he has to like go kill the dude. It's like, why is Walt crying? Just buy a new plate, bro. And that also escaped containment. Like, people don't watch this show, and it's like they super do. That's why they're making these jokes. These are jokes made with the idea that the person who's reading it fully understands everything that happens in the show. It actually requires more levels of understanding.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't remember about the plate bit, it's just that there's a plate that smashes in front of the guy that Walt has locked in the basement, and he doesn't want to kill him. And
he's about to let him go as well.
Yeah, he's about to let him go, and he realizes that, hey, the plate that broke, there's a giant shard missing of it, which means that the guy grabbed the shard and is planning on stabbing him the moment he lets him go.
Yeah. But it's just that great of like, why is he crying? Just buy a new plate, bro.
But that's such a good joke.
It's fucking incredible, right? And it's like you get escapes containment.
Yeah.
And just every now and again you have that online, and it's always fascinating to watch. Like, one that really got me is because I was looking up, actually, me and a friend, we were at the pub, and we went to the pub, and there was a very young person behind the bar who was serving us. And my friend turned to me and went, is that the Gen Z stare? Because we walked up and asked, like, oh, can I get a pint? And the person... just no, and I went, I think it was, and we looked it up, and like Gen Z stare is, people maybe not familiar with it, it's just partially influenced by the pandemic. It's but like just
partially, but also just like I guess like a reaction to growing up in a like as very shitter world, and not basically wanting to contribute back, right?
Not to mention all having like just a diminished amount of like actual direct face-to-face communication with people. And it is emblematic. What would be the word? Not emblemized. Like, I'm the one who can't think of words, but it's like a good example of it is when younger people they're now entering the workforce, is they just don't understand the almost innate social cues that most people just have.
I think it
such
might
as
be
saying hello to
that.
A shopkeeper or something.
I think it might be partially that, but I think that for a lot of people at least, it's way more conscious of an effort than it may seem. Like, I think it is an active kind of like, fuck you. And not to say that everyone has that, because like, I literally work with Gen Z people, and a lot of them aren't like that. A lot of them don't act like that.
Saying I'm hoping I'm not speaking too generally here and upsetting our younger fans. Like, keep supporting us. But it is a trend that is observable in younger people entering the workforce, that they're just less likely to respond to what older generations perceive as almost innate, just social conditioning. For example, like when someone says hello to you in the morning, it's common thing of like, I don't even think about it. It's like you say hello back, or if someone asks how you are, to respond of like, I'm fine, thanks, how are you? It's just, it's been ingrained in us for like years and years and years and years of just like social situations. But
just a pro tip for anyone that isn't British,
when someone asks that,
going to travel, if someone says, hi, you're right, or hi, how are you? The response is like, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
We're not actually asking how your day has been or how you are feeling.
And that's the thing.
And it's not that we don't care, or some people don't care. For me, it's not that I don't care. It's more just like ingrained into me. Like, I naturally just say that as a greeting.
Yeah, it's a generalised greeting, and it is understood by the majority of people that the correct response to that is someone's just being polite. But like,
if I say to someone, "Oh, you're right," their response is, "Oh, you're right."
Yeah,
and then we move on.
And we found a bunch of like Gen Zers like being annoyed, like in threads and stuff, while we just sat in the pub reading through this stuff, because this is the kind of thing I do when I'm with my friends.
I want to clarify that like it isn't a thing that like all Gen Z people do.
No,
it is like something that, again, I think is more conscious than people give credit for, but it's one of those things about, again, like I said earlier, don't want to like paint everyone with the same brush.
No, it's an observable phenomenon though. For example, me and Lucas are millennials. We can dunk on ourselves here, so if anyone thinks we've been unfair, there is something the millennials do that has been observed by younger and older generations, particularly younger ones, because they're more technology-minded, or technologically minded, is the millennial pause. Yes. The millennial pause, and that is where, say if I'm going to talk into my camera and record like a video for TikTok or social media, if you watch videos of millennials doing this, there'll always be a brief pause. That's known as the millennial pause.
You know, you press record.
You go, boop, wait a second.
Wait a sec to make sure you see the little red light or green light or whatever saying like recording.
And then start talking.
And then you'll start talking. Because when we used to have like older technology, it would take a couple of seconds,
and that has been ingrained
react and start recording. Yeah,
and that is so deeply ingrained in millennials who are using technology that it is observable by the younger generation who are used to pressing record and instantly started talking, because that's what the technology they use does. That they've noticed that millennials pause, and they don't know why they pause because they've never experienced or grew up with the technology that would require them to do so. Mm-hmm. And the inverse is that millennials have never had an issue with, for the most part, understanding those innate social cues of, hey, how are you? I'm fine. Because it's just been understood and observed by us for almost our entire lives, whereas Gen Z haven't had that.
And not to say that there aren't millennials that do the same thing and aren't socially awkward or whatever.
Of course, yes. That's why
It's one of those things of, it's just a thing that has like been an observable trend among younger people in comparison to ourselves.
Yes, and when me and my friend were looking it up, we found like a bunch of like responses from Gen Zers arguing that against the arguing that the Gen Z stare is not a thing, but citing the wrong thing. Like they were citing like customer service face, which is it's similar, but it's very distinct. And customer service face is just when people doing customer service adopt a facade of just not nonchalance, but they adopt like a very detached personality so that they don't have to directly interact with people, and it allows them to distance themselves from those conversations, but they still interact with the customers. They just do so in a way that is detached, and they do not put any of themselves into it.
One, I guess, like side example of like a spin-off example.
All this stuff is fascinating to me, but I'm probably not explaining it too well.
But like it's like an observable thing where younger people don't answer when they answer the phone.
Yeah, I've heard that one, yeah.
Of like, some people say that there's now like scams going around trying to copy your voice with AI so they don't speak first, they wait, which I think is on the side of like, conspiracy theorists. Like, unless you are a very rich, important person, like, I don't really 100% get why someone would be calling you to steal your voice. But
then again, though, like, when's the last time someone called you on your phone and it was actually someone off of a number that you don't recognise, where it was actually someone...
I mean, I got a call from the bank the other day.
Yeah, but I think it barely ever happens to us now. Imagine if you've grown up with phones all your life and you've never had a single phone call.
People, like, I, dismissed the call and then went online to like look up the problem they told me about, and it was in fact like something I needed to look into.
Yeah. So
don't worry, I didn't like give away my bank details to some random phone number.
Yeah.
Do not worry.
And that's the thing. Like, now imagine you've grown up. It's like I'm hesitant to answer my phone from a wrong number because like, sometimes it might be important. If I was 18 years old, that means my entire life's probably spent where I imagine like a lot of young people, they don't even fucking call people on the actual phone. They use like Discord and stuff, right?
Apparently a thing when it comes to like people answering the phone for work purposes, in terms of like, if I'm at Nando's and like I'll answer the phone and be like, "Hi, restaurant, this is the person speaking, how can I help?" Whereas apparently like it's a very common thing now for people, especially young people, to just press the answer button and not say a thing.
Ah, okay. That would be frustrating.
Yeah, and like, so it's again, not just in terms of personal phone calls, like also like work phone calls and stuff. Yeah,
which I can imagine being very, very frustrating. Especially like, hey, look, you need to answer the phone and say hello, because people need to know there's someone at the end of the phone. But obviously, that's socially conditioned in us after years, decades in some cases, of that's just how you do it. But if you were never taught to do the thing, how would you know to do the thing? So you can, in a sense, like you can forgive people's inexperience or something like that.
It's one of those things of like, I like to think that we're talking in a way that we're not disparaging people. It's just interesting to discuss and see like the differences between generations, right?
No, but it's like, I find it fascinating. And I found like the post that me and my friend found when we were at the pub. So first we have like, here's someone on Tumblr being very confidently incorrect about what Gen Z stare is. And this is someone on Tumblr like, learning that 1, there's a thing called the Gen Z stare, and 2, that it pisses people off, and 3, that it's just underpaid service workers staring at someone until they follow a simple instruction has been interesting. For example, the card says remove card, the customer goes, it says remove card, what do I do? Then some underpaid 20-year-old just stares at whatever twat asks that question. Apparently that's devastating for baby boomers and Gen Xers, and they're complaining about it. Retail workers should be allowed to jump the counter and kill customers.
The Gen Z stare, if we haven't explained it very well,
that's not it.
Is not that.
That's customer service stare.
Yeah, that's a thing that many people will be doing in retail and hospitality and stuff. Is just like, you ask me a stupid question, I'm not going to even respond. It's that stupid.
And then we have someone here.
The Gen Z stare is more, say for example, like you go up and somebody is serving you like a till, like a cashier.
Yeah,
and you just say hello, and they just give you a blank stare and no response.
Yes, that's it, and and it sounds like the same thing, but they're very distinct. Because one is you can understand why someone would be either dumbfounded or just not want to, like, I'm not going to dignify that with a response, sort of thing, right? If you ask me a stupid question, I want to stare at you till you feel stupid for asking it. The other one is like, it's basic social courtesy to say hello when someone says hello back, and someone on this thread here clarifies the difference. So, yeah, the Gen Z stare is when you ask a specific question that needs an answer and the other person stares blankly at you. Not in a like, what do you mean kind of way, just a complete understanding of absence that they need to respond to continue the interaction. And it's really fascinating that, like, there's multiple layers of misunderstanding between people here. And it's, again, I just find it mostly fascinating that this is a thing.
Yeah, like, again, I'm not saying any of this in, like, a disparaging way. Not me personally, anyway. Karl might be dumping on you.
And I completely understand as well, like, the reasoning for it, and it's something that should be studied, because this is obviously like it's new observable behaviour in a younger generation of people that is in some cases completely alien to people who are only like 10, 15 years removed.
And that happens in some ways every generation, right? Like,
yes,
obviously generations are messy because like someone who's born in like 1998 might not be that different from someone who's born in 1999, but they might be considered different quote-unquote generation, which is why people obviously a lot of the time will say like older or younger millennial or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. But sorry for that tangent. Just I remember having that conversation with my friend because we were baffled. We experienced it. 'Cause we just asked the person a very basic. Was like, "Oh, can I get a pint, please?" And the dude just stared.
Yeah,
and I just looked at my friend and went, "That was so fucking weird." It was really uncomfortable because the guy didn't seem to understand. It's like, "Can I get a pint? Can I get a pint, please, mate? Can I get a pint of that, please, mate?" And then he just poured it in complete silence and handed it to me. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, and
it was really unnerving. It was like goosebumps.
I remember, like, I worked with someone who I thought originally had that kind of attitude, but I just, like, slowly over time, as I kind of, like, was on more shifts with them, realised they just have zero tolerance for dumb people. So, like, the moment they encounter someone that's, like, reasonable and speaks to them with respect, they're perfectly normal and fine. And, like, they'll, respond appropriately.
It sounds like the same behaviour as a distinction.
But, like, but the moment they have someone that's, like, angry with them or talks down to them or asks them something stupid, they just shut the fuck down. And, like,
I'm not being paid enough to deal with this.
Way. Yeah.
That's that thing of detach yourself from the situation to protect your own ego and sense of sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and, like, I kind of gained, that respect for them of, like, oh, no, you do not give a fuck. Like, because if I encounter, like, a rude customer, I'm very much, like, the people pleaser type person of, like, I'll try and, not pander to them, but I'll try and, like, fix the situation and be like, no, okay, we'll sort it out and blah, blah.
That's
But they're just, like, a confident, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Like, I prefer your way, the kill them with kindness approach, the yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, so they feel like the arsehole.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But yeah.
I
have a lot of, like, both respect and, like, I feel, like, slightly jealous of the people who have the ability to just, like, give people the big fuck you, because I don't have the confidence to do that.
Yes. Like, it is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, one summation here that is, like, it's a bit harsh, but I think it sums up, like, what me and my friend were thinking, because I think we were going through this exact thread to get context, because we wanted to get context. I remember I said it to her, and then we were like, well, what is the Gen Z set? We looked it up, but I was drunk when we did that, so I couldn't remember the exact interaction. But someone sums it up here of, like, it's especially funny because the Gen Z stare comes from a lack of real-world socialization. And then there's this Zoomer misunderstanding the phenomenon because they don't go inside enough and have just guessed what it is based on things they've read online.
Mm-hmm.
Which is harsh, but I feel kind of fair. Because that initial post I read really reads like it's Tumblr, and, like, I was using Tumblr 15 fucking years ago, and 15 fucking years ago there were people on there talking about shit that was a big deal to me as, like, a young 20-year-old. That just is from people who've not actually experienced life talking about as if they have.
Yeah,
it's been a thing for as long as I can remember using the internet, of people just making assumptions about how the world works and then getting mad about it.
God, I'm surprised anyone's still on Tumblr anymore.
It's still going, yeah.
I remember for a while people
still,
like the
it's still
porn
as insufferable. Gone. Yeah.
Well, literally, I saw, like, porn is gone, Tumblr's dead.
It's
yeah.
It is still just as insufferable as it used to be, with the pseudo-intellectualism, and people, as mentioned, like, it's something that a good friend of ours summed up to me. It's one of the things I just, like, it completely turned me off ever trying to argue with someone on the internet, is, like, just the fact that at any point online I'm forced to look at a 15-year-old's opinion should be a war crime, which I think itself is like a recycled opinion from someone on Twitter. And it's like,
of course, yeah.
Like, a younger person's perspective is valid, but they shouldn't speak as if they've lived a life yet. Go out there and, like, you know, touch some grass, live your life.
And that's the exact same thing that, like, my dad would say about us, right?
And now we're saying the same thing. So time is a flat, and I guarantee anyone younger out there who thinks we're speaking like, oh, these old guys don't know what they're talking about, it's going to happen to you.
And I would argue we still don't.
We still don't know. Like, you know, with age comes experience and hopefully wisdom.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I'm not sure I've gained enough wisdom to count for my years, but yeah, I'd hope I've gained a little bit.
We've at least lived enough of life to now have experience and speak with certain topics with some degree of authority because we've literally lived them.
That's the thing is, like, I've lived through all of Pokemon. I can speak with great experience about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, I can't speak with authority on many subjects, but Pokemon is one.
I was there when it was written, old man.
I was there when the commandments were passed down.
Man, I recently rewatched The Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is so fucking good.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, Lord of the Rings is so fucking good, because we were watching it with that same friend, actually. We were watching Return of the King, and we got to the part, and I was joking to my mate of, like, when's the last time you watched, like, Lord of the Rings? Like, oh, it was, like, last year. I went, all right, I want you to tell me when it ends, and I want you to tell me by standing up. And they stood up 3 separate times and forgot there was still more of Lord of the Rings.
There's still like half an hour of film left after.
Because we got to the part where it's like, Aragorn has been coronated as he's the king. Goes over to the hobbits, and it's like, my friends, you bow to nobody. All the people bow. The line from the book is, and at that moment, those 4 hobbits stood taller than all the races of men and elves. And my friend stood up like the hobbits. And like, oh, that's the end. And then they played even more.
Like, I'll give them credit for wanting to, like, you know, get every single thread of the story done. But, yeah, that film ends, like, 9 times.
It does, and it's so fucking funny because we weren't even watching the extended edition. Or apparently it happens even more.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking it literally ends, like, 9 times or something, because...
It fades as well. It's not even like it cuts, it fades, as you do at the end of a story, but they just didn't want to cut too harshly between 2 very different scenes, so it fades. Oh, that's the end of the film. Music's kicking in. Back up. Fades and back up. And I said, my friend, you've got to stand up when you think it's going to end. You've got to commit. And they did 3 different times.
I find it fascinating as well that I've just realised I don't think we've ever covered Lord of the Rings as like an actual Wiki Weekend.
No, we covered Sauron. It'd be good.
But I mean, like the films themselves.
I'll tell you what, it'd be good.
Yeah.
I've just done finished my rewatch. So if you want to cover Lord of the Rings, like, you know, for like some point before the end of the year, just go rewatch one of the films and I'll happily talk about it because it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah. No, it'd be fun. Because, I mean, have you got a favourite of the 3?
I think I prefer the 2 Towers because that's my favourite battle. Because that's when Legolas slides down the stairs and does the cool slide. But
I think 2 Towers is the best of the 3, yeah.
But I think Return of the King is the one that is... It's the better extended edition. I don't like the extended edition of the first one. Because it feels like there's way too much world building that is unnecessary. But the third one, a lot of the stuff they cut out is literally story critical. Like the Mouth of Sauron. We're watching it, it's like, people don't know, there's a scene in the final battle where they go up to the gates to Mount Doom, and Aragorn's like, we need to distract Sauron's forces so that Frodo has a chance to get to Mount Doom without anyone noticing. And they have a scene in the extended edition of like the Mouth of Sauron comes out and taunts the heroes, and fucking Aragorn cuts his fucking head off, and that's what causes all the army to come out because Sauron's distracted by his mouth, like, you know, his mouthpiece being attacked. In the theatrical version, they walk up to the gates, they don't open, they walk back and then they open.
Oh.
And you can see the fucking Mouth of Sauron dead in the background on the ground. I was like...
Right, yeah, because it's been a while since I've watched the theatrical versions.
It cuts from Sauron looking at Frodo with the ring, his single desire in the entire world is right there, and then for no reason turns around.
Oh dear, yeah. Like, I always say that the best way to introduce people to Lord of the Rings is the theatrical cut.
It is indeed,
Don't start people with the extended edition. That's what puts people off.
Because, especially with the first movie, because now I'm older, and I've watched the first movie. The extended edition is really fun because it's a really comfy movie.
Yeah.
It's like when me and my friend did the rewatch, because annoyingly we had like the extended edition of the first two, but the third one we only had it on like Prime. But the first one, because we'd watched it before and we were having like, a proper day in, it was like 3.5 hours, but we had like a pizza and got food and a few snacks. It was a really comfy, like, just like a couple hours watching the film, talking about the film. We paused it after an hour to get some food and talked about the movie, then went back in. You can't do that on a first watch.
No.
There's too much.
And like, I like watching the extended editions as 6 films, because even like the Blu-ray versions, it's split up into 6 discs. So like, I'm there like, okay, well, I don't want to commit to like 4 hours of movie right now, but what I'll do is I'll watch 2 hours of movie today, and I can do that, every couple of days or whatever, and watch them as 6 films instead.
Yeah, I have been tempted to do like the full watch though. Apparently they do that at cinemas sometimes, but I imagine that must be... we talked about earlier about people fucking smelling. I bet a full 12-hour watch of that film in the theatres...
14 and a half.
Okay, it must be fucking so smelly. And imagine as well, we joke about the annoying people who would be like, do you know Aragorn broke... like, Viggo Mortensen broke his toe and did this?
Yeah.
I can't imagine watching Lord of the Rings and having people fucking whooping and cheering... every time like a meme happens about I'm trying to watch the movie.
I swear it's like I'll double check because I might be wrong there, but I'm sure it's like around 14 hours altogether.
Yeah, because I've seen like clips people have posted of those.
I'm very wrong.
How long is it?
I'm very wrong. It's like 11 and a half.
Okay, so that's like all day.
So maybe I'm thinking like the last one's 4.5. Yeah, that's maybe where I'm getting those confused in my head.
But I've seen like clips of people who've gone to those like all day watchathons, and they just look so. I would hate to be there because it's just people whooping and cheering for every fucking line.
I think it's a very fun thing to do
at home
when it's like at home with a couple of friends or your partner or whatever, and everybody is in.
Yeah,
right? Like
and
everybody's a Lord of the Rings fan.
Maybe you'll talk a little bit, but you'll sit.
Talk a little bit, and you can watch, and you can
stand up and get a drink
and stuff, and like take breaks between each disc or whatever. Like that's a really fun day to have. But yet, doing it in a cinema, nah.
Right, and having people who have, I'm just gonna say, like just a low amount of social literacy, whooping and cheering for every fucking line.
Or just like, talking over the movie because it's not a new release, right?
Or doing the thing that I remember hearing about this. Like treating it like it's Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, right.
And going up there and like going in costume and acting out the thing. Because I heard a story about that once where someone went in like full fucking like Frodo outfit or like some character and acted out the entire thing. And it's like, that person's probably having a lot of fun. Their friends are probably having fun filming it. I can't imagine how fucking annoying that would be.
And, when you go to see something like the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
it's expected.
That's an expectation. Yeah.
It's expected at that show.
It's very similar to how I actively chose to not go to watch K-pop Demon Hunters as a sing-along in the movies, because I was like, I know that I would probably sit there and want to just be watching the film, and everyone else is annoying me, but I'm like, rather than going and being annoyed,
I'm not going to go.
The adult thing of not go and let everyone else have their fun.
And that's why I'm saying I don't want to go to one of those things, because if I went, I'd be annoyed, not enjoy it, and would complain.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? That experience is there for the people who'd ruin it for me.
Because, I went to go do a rewatch of the Star Wars trilogy one time in a cinema, and it was just people chatting over the movie because they were like, well, everyone's seen it anyway, what's the problem? It's like, I didn't come to hear your chit-chat over the movies. I want to go watch them in a cinema-like experience because I never got that opportunity.
I remember once, it was like when the Taylor Swift film was going out, like the 4 album.
Eras tour thing.
And they had people were going and putting on like full fucking like choreographed performances at the front of the stage, in front of the screen. And it's like, I get it, this is all you've got. You don't have a personality beyond this, and you don't have any friends. Please sit down. And that sounds harsh,
That was really odd.
But it is. It's like this isn't about you. It's not about you.
I just the part of like this is all you've got no friends.
Well, it isn't it? It's like get something else. And I know I'm being grumpy old man right now, but I think
from a great height.
Right, I am being a grumpy old man, but I think I am going to the cinema to watch this, and there is an expectation that if I went to watch Lord of the Rings, I'd want people to cheer, like, the battle scenes, right? Or when Legolas slides down the fucking stairs.
When he kicks the helmet, everyone just goes, "Hey!"
The moment. What it's not going to be that. It's going to be the entire film, and there's going to be someone there who's just this is their moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are going to be the equivalent of the people.
And
I told you.
I will say, I think it's harsh to dunk on the Taylor Swift one specifically, because I would go into that with the same expectation as like a sing-along for K-pop Demon Hunters.
Going up and doing a full performance on stage, like you're the main character.
Yeah,
sing-along's one thing.
I know.
Dancing, so people have to pay attention to you instead of the thing they're paid to sing.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I draw the line of when you are physically getting in my way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I've told the story of when I went to go see a band, and there was a person there who was live streaming themselves watching it with a ring light. And they were stood there, and they were dancing and singing along to every song with a fucking ring light and doing full 360s in the middle of a dance floor. And when people were bumping into them, were pushing them out of the way. Go home. Go away. I don't want you here. I don't want that person near me when I'm trying to watch the show, because I paid money to see that person. Man, and you're having fun, but no one around you's having any fun.
This Goosebumps discussion went off the rails.
Again, I know that this is all you've got, and you've got no friends. Please leave.
Should I put Goosebumps in the thumbnail for this one just to further piss people off?
I don't know how I got onto this, but I
don't even know how we got down this
I thought about how frustrating that was when mate, I'm not kidding. Me and my friend, we were stood there at the thing, and the person was like, a lot of people on their phones, like, fair enough. But the moment the lights turn down, the artist is trying something, and the fucking ring light turned on, and me and my friend just looked at you and went, should we just go somewhere else?
I'm not even a fan of people just holding their cameras up and stuff in the middle of a concert. It's like, enjoy the concert.
Yeah. Take a photo, take a selfie.
Take a photo or whatever, yeah, totally. I'm going to hold my phone up for 3 hours and record the entire concert.
Or stream it on TikTok,
But streaming your live reaction,
not even the show, their reaction to the show with a ring light. I cannot express how bright this light was.
I mean, I've got one literally in front of me, I can imagine.
And I said, there's just a level of social literacy required to navigate those situations. Either the person doesn't have any, or they don't care.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure which is worse. I think the not caring is worse.
The not caring is worse. It's like people who, I don't know, go on the phone in the cinema, right? They know they're not supposed to do that. They know they're ruining it for everybody else. They just don't care.
Mm-hmm. I remember...
they only care that they're having fun. Like I said, the people who run up and dance in front of the stage.
I can't remember whether it was Infinity War or Endgame that I went to, and this was midnight release, bear in mind. I was sat next to someone that kept pulling out the phone, and eventually I just had to turn to the side and just be like, look, that's really distracting. And they were like, oh, right, I didn't realise. Yes, you did.
Oh, yes, brightness turned all the way up as well.
Yeah, brightness all the way up. And it's because the movies literally tell you, turn off your fucking phone.
No, they didn't read that. No one told me.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent.
Of everything you can think of to be I wasn't aware that this was a social faux pas. You can't pull that out when it's the phones in the movies.
Nicole Kidman told you to turn your phone off.
Yeah. They literally tell you, this is the one thing that's a dick move, don't do this.
Yeah. Again, everyone here is paid to be here, and they pay to watch this film.
Mm-hmm.
Not you.
And it's like, you might think, oh, all I'm doing is like looking at my phone right in front of me. It can't be that bad. It's like, it's very distracting to have a bright light turn on right next to your eyes when you're sitting in like a fully dark room trying to focus on one point.
And at least have like, the social awareness, but, oh, I'm sorry, and turn the brightness down.
Mm.
But it's like I said, it's some people, it's like they either don't care or it's all they have.
And all I had was those Avengers movies. No, I'm joking. But obviously, like, those movies, the first time you experience them especially is like, this is the culmination of like a 10-year storyline.
Yeah. I'm here to watch the end of it, not you text your mate. As I said, when people were doing the watches of films and the people turn up in full costume, that's fun. Going up to the front of a stage and acting out the scene. And it's like, and this is what pissed me off about that, is that you're taking advantage of the social contract that most people are too polite to say what they want to say, which is, shut the fuck up and sit down. And you're taking advantage of that by just being an obnoxious ass.
I do want to hear, again, I know we're not talking about Goosebumps.
I'm talking about the scariest thing ever. That'd be my hell being stuck in a situation like that.
Americans in the comments let us know like what your experience with this kind of stuff is, because generally speaking, a lot of British people, even if they get annoyed by stuff like this, will not speak up and say anything. And
I think that's what the people who don't care, they're taking advantage of that. And they're either ignoring the fact that people are annoyed or assuming that because no one's complaining about it, they're okay to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. And, like, as I say, like, even me getting super annoyed and frustrated at, like, somebody having the phone on next to me, it took, like, half of the movie for me to get annoyed enough to politely go, excuse me, that's quite distracting. Like, that was me at, like, fuming levels of, like, I've reached my fucking point. And was like, excuse me, I'm really, that's distracted. Like, that was me, like... Furious. Blowing my lid, right?
And that will be my hell. I cannot imagine anything... Obviously, there's things that I watch and being hyperbolic, but probably, like, the worst day out I could imagine would be stuck in a situation like that. Have you ever seen those, like, clips of people who are on, like, planes that are delayed or whatever, and it's like, oh, I pulled out my guitar and started to sing along, and you're like... I can't imagine, and you know as well, the person who's doing the guitar thing, everyone's loving this, like, no, everyone's too polite to tell you to shut up. There was
one going around on Reddit, I want to say a couple of months ago, where that happened, and it was like, a kid got on the, like, speaker thing, the, like, intercom system or whatever, and started singing, and then, like, this was, like, I think a parent posting of, like, I can't believe some people weren't happy with my kids singing.
It's like, it's cute if you do it once, but then you encourage them, like, okay, now that kid thinks I've now got permission to sit here and scream down this for the entire trip. And you understand that as a child, the parents should probably step up and go, okay, the other people are trying to relax now. But you meet adults who don't have the person with them.
I think that's what the post was like going around for, because it was like, from the parents' perspective, of like, I can't believe not everyone appreciated my child doing this. It's like, it's not the kid's fault, it's the parents' fault. I have to, in those situations, totally put the blame on the adult.
And I say, I've seen similar type of posts from, like, people like, I went to the cinema in, like, full costume and I acted out the scene from the movie in front of the scene, and people told me to sit down. I thought I was having fun. It's like, you were having fun, they weren't.
The meme going around, I remember when, like, the Minions movie came out.
Gentle Minions.
Like, won't it be, like, really fun if we
that was great, though. That was fun.
But, that's the thing. I don't get why that was banned, because that seemed like, as far as the joke went, it was just
everyone
kids
going in
finding
suits.
It funny to turn up as, like, as you say, like, the Gentle Minions, and, like, there's no harm being caused in, like, the chicken jockey one. I totally
that
get, like,
go fuck off.
That one can fuck off, because they were just destroying cinemas.
Not to mention as well the director of that film encouraging people to do it. When asked about it, it's like, oh yeah, I think it's really fun. I think, like, and all but endorsed people doing it, and everyone who works in movie theaters like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Have you any idea how much this has ruined my day? Because you're encouraging people to act like assholes in cinemas, and then obviously the social media aspects of it encouraged people to do bigger and bigger and more extravagant things, to the point where they were, like I said, tearing theatres apart.
Yeah. And, like, I get that one being banned, and, like, some cinemas opted for, like,
right?
leaning into it.
There's a limit between turning up in a costume, tearing the place apart.
But, like, yeah, that General Minions one, I was like, okay, like, it's a fun gimmick, but why are kids being, like,
you have to
not
think,
allowed to go see the movie?
Were they doing a chicken jockey thing?
Was there another level to it where they were causing shit? And
so I think of, like,
generally the people.
The Barbenheimer one, where everyone went dressed in pink. That wasn't like, I don't remember any stories like those getting kicked out of the cinema for doing that. So maybe the people going in the suits were similarly acting obnoxious to the point where they were distracting other people from the film.
You've got to hope that there would be some other level right onto that, because
they're just hating whimsy.
What's the harm in them just, like, turning up in a suit?
Like, the best one was Dune, where that guy rolled up on, like, a hoverboard made up like a sandworm and rode it around the cinema. See, stuff like that is fun.
Yeah.
Like when I went to see, like, I think one of the Dragon Ball movies, and some guy turned up with, like, the Goku hair. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Do you know what he did when the film started? He took that fucking wig off because he was in front of somebody. And I went, I saw him do that. I made a note of it. I appreciate that he did that, because that means he's got enough self-awareness to turn up and have fun. The moment the film started, I'm distracting somebody in their way. And he took it off.
However, it would have been a very funny, if not inappropriate move, to take that wig off and put a Super Saiyan wig on.
The glowing
and it's even
one.
taller.
Glowing in the middle of the film. It was like, I said, that's why there's a limit. Like, that guy clearly understood the assignment, turned in a costume, everyone, like,
respected other people's experience, right?
I imagine as well, they were relishing the attention they got from that. Because everyone's, like, paying attention to them. It's like, oh, this is great. But they realise after a certain point, people aren't here to pay attention to me anymore. They're here to pay attention to them. Took it off, sat down and watched the film.
What Dragon Ball movie was that?
That'll have been Super Broly, I think.
Oh, yes, yeah, of course.
But then I remember when I went to go see...
That can't have been Dragon Ball Evolution, Karl.
No, then I remember when I went to go see Resurrection F, and I had a similar experience where someone came up in costume, but when Goku started going Super Saiyan, Joey does the scream, he's like, I will not destroy my world. A guy stood up in the cinema and screamed the entire time as he was doing it, because he clearly watched the film before and knew to do it. And a couple of people laughed. But then, for the entire rest of the fight, he was doing the sound effects for the thing. It's like, he got one laugh, and one laugh wasn't enough, because that's all he had. And he had no friends. I'm going to keep saying it. And if they're friends, they're bad friends, because they didn't tell him, like, dude, this is really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you got your one laugh.
Sit the fuck down.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a joke. We had fun. God, yeah. It's interesting, though, because I do think that us, as I say, like, as British people, I think our cinema-going experience is expected to be very sterile.
Yes.
That's the expectation we socially have. Whereas I know that, like, people I listen to and stuff on, like, podcasts, you know, say that as British people, they're surprised what American cinemas are like.
Well, it's like, you only need to say when you arrive in America, they clap on airplanes.
Yeah.
They clap when the plane lands.
I mean, I've seen British people do that to fly over to fucking Ireland. It's like...
Yeah, but their lads are a night out. That's to be understood.
No, it wasn't.
Was it not?
But, you know, no, just general people.
So I had that when I went to Benidorm for that stag do. And when we arrived, like, just everyone's like, we've now arrived in Benidorm. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. Again, it's socially understood, and there are situations where it's acceptable, other ones where it's not. And I don't think it's too much to expect of people. Like, you live in the world, pay attention to it, and you can kind of pick up from the cues people are giving off of whether or not something is acceptable or would be frustrating or distracting for everyone else in the environment and your proximity. But God, that one of just...
Can't believe Karl hates Taylor Swift and her fans.
I hate those fans.
What do you mean, half the fucking world?
Half of them, yeah. Well, do you see that album got released and there was a genuine review? Someone like, I can tell this album's not been received well because I gave it a 7 out of 10, speaking of bad reviews, and Taylor Swift fans didn't send me death threats. Which is both a condemnation of her fan base and the quality of that album.
Like, I don't know much about the album. I've heard it's had, like, mixed reception, to say the least, but there's something about her describing her, like, fiance's penis in, like, great detail or some shit, and I'm like, what? Like, that... what is going on?
My favourite one is someone just edited the cover to be boiled rice and boiled chicken breast with Taylor Swift over it. And you know what? That's fair enough, right? We didn't talk much about Goosebumps, but I guess one thing we can mention is Goosebumps book challenges, because I think this is fun. So Goosebumps is listed 15th in the list of most frequently challenged books during the 90s, and the 94th in the list of most banned challenged books during the 2000s by the American Library Association. According to the ALA, a challenge is an attempt by a person or group to remove or restrict materials from a library or school curriculum. The series was challenged for being too frightening for young people and depicting occult and demonic themes, even though it's specifically written for children to experience horror and spooky things in a age-appropriate manner.
Yeah, like...
Do you know what it says? Those parents are huge pussies.
They are, but obviously, like, I'm sure there's, when you bring in, like, the demonic aspect and stuff, I'm sure there's, like, some religious edge to those challenges.
Well, again,
right?
It's people who, they've got no friends, and that's all they have.
It's like...
Those people have no friends, and for them, it is all they have. Like, not even in a facetious way, the people who spend their time doing that, they've got nothing else.
The book burners of the world, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? Especially when it's like...
Goosebumps.
Well, you're introducing demonic ideas to children. It's fucking Goosebumps.
Also, as well, it's like, what are you doing? Oh, teaching them to hate gay people. Sure, you're making the world a better place.
Yeah.
Again, they've got nothing else going on in their life.
Like, who's the real demon in this aspect? Is it the blood monster 4, or is it you just not letting people live their lives?
In that vein, I guess to end on, like in a roundabout way, what is like the most like no life or you should get a life person you've met, if it's not too depressing a topic?
Oh, God, have you got an example in your brain?
I think I said is there's just a lot of like examples like that spring to mind of like just the people who just spent all their time thinking about stuff like that. Like that, or they throw their everything into something minor because it's the only time they know people have effectively forced to pay attention to them.
Yeah. I can't think of like a specific example off the top of my head.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of them are really depressing, right?
Yeah.
They're like people who spend all their time like
things I've tried to like block out of my brain. But,
like we mentioned like Reddit a couple times, there's like a lot of snark subreddits, and it's like so instead of you don't like someone or a thing, and you spend all your time talking about it, and that is your entire day, seemingly.
I mean,
how is that better than?
Maybe not no lifer, but the one that like always gets me is just the person that cannot ever get away from focusing on the negative. That type of person. Well, no, because
I'm joking.
You enjoy yourself.
Well, I've been smiling the entire time. Like I know that sometimes, content-wise, people like hearing other people get angry or frustrated, and that anger or frustration is something that people enjoy vicariously through other people.
But like, I'm talking about the type of person that like every single conversation you have with them is like, "Oh, hi, how are you? You know, how you doing? Oh, today's the worst day ever. Like, oh, everything is bad. Like, I've got problems here. I've got problems." And like, not to say that people aren't allowed to talk about their problems, but the person that I've got in mind, I'm not going to name and shame them. I'm sure they don't listen to this podcast anyway.
Well, what if they do? They're just going to complain about it anyway.
Yeah, but like, I worked with them for maybe about 3 years. And not one single interaction I had with them, I ever heard them say anything positive.
Is this the person where you were talking to them, like, you got drunk once, and they talked to you, and you just had one too many, and went, "Look, mate, I don't want to talk to you, because all you do is complain and you're boring"? Because, like,
no,
you were giggling at me for being harsh about people not having a life. I remember that's the harshest thing I've ever heard anybody say.
Yeah, that was me during my, not so pleasant years, but Yeah,
the thing is, though,
I did
deserved.
walk away from someone. I did walk away from someone who had been boring for the entire 10 years I'd known them.
But it's just the way you summed it up.
I said it to their face because I was drunk.
You just said all you do is complain and you're boring and walked away from the conversation. It's like, if that was me, that would give me the wake up call of like, oh fuck, I need to do something with my life.
No, this was like a co-worker that I worked with for a few years. That was a person that was part of my friend group.
Like, the kind of person who's not happy unless they're miserable, right?
Yeah, and not as well, like, not happy unless everyone else is as miserable as they are. And that's why I think I just lost my shit in the end with them. I'd say, like, I'd known them for 10 plus years, and I just got to something was the straw that broke the camel's back. At one point.
Are you ever happy?
Yeah, and I feel bad to this day about being so blunt with them. Yeah,
it's sometimes it's necessary though, right? Because as we've talked about, there's a lot of these social cues or these understandings that some people ignore either willingly or they're just not aware that they're there, and they might need that wake up call of look, this is kind of not okay. Because I think I was in the pub once. There were a couple of friends just having a quiet drink, and just I think it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday as well. So we were there, we'd been for a meal. We went, we'll have a drink and then go home.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly someone next to us, it was workouting. Someone just had one too many.
Mm-hmm.
And they were getting loud and abrasive. And just, they kept going. And then I think we all started doing that thing you do when you're in a pub and you kind of earwigging a little bit, listening in for Americans. And you go, just nod to each other and listen in. And just out of nowhere, you hear the guy go, you can't say bloody anything these days. And we were like, oh, this is it. And he went off on his tirade. And then halfway through, one of the ladies who was sat next to him with a glass of wine said, I'll stop you for a minute there. He said, look, and I'll never forget it. He said, look, you've done nothing but complain and be loud and obnoxious since we got here. We came here for a good time, and we're not having a good time. These guys are too polite to say it, but you're ruining our day. So can you either be quiet or go home? And the guy just sat still for I think 30 seconds, and then just kept going off on one again. And just the lady went, in which case can you just leave?
Yeah.
And asked him to leave.
And it's valid in those kind of situations, as I say.
We all sat there and just went, it's one of those moments we think, I can't believe that she's actually said that, because how many situations have we all been in where you've wanted to just walk up to be like, look, no one here wants to listen to your shit, can you please go? And they did it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, in my situation, of the anecdote you brought up, I just feel bad because I think I was unnecessarily rude to a person.
It maybe could have been worded a little better, but you worded it in the absolute funniest possible way, so I'll give you credit for that.
That's the thing is, it makes for a funny anecdote, but it's not something I'm proud that I did, and it's something that I reflect upon, and hopefully I'm now a better person for it, right? But when someone's just actively being a jackass, call them the fuck out.
Yeah, and it sticks in my head because of just how... It's more how polite the lady was, and we could hear her, because we were in a really small, quiet room in a small local pub where you could hear... Do you want to say you hear a pin drop? It wasn't quite that, but you could hear the clinking of glasses, because clearly everyone in the pub had gone dead silent to hear this woman ream this guy out. And just the fact that, in that 30 seconds he had in his head, I can either apologise and save face, or I can double down. And he just doubled down.
That's what I don't get. Is obviously, again, alcohol comes into these things, but clearly that is the type of person that's probably not been in that situation one time. And
plus as well, they've most likely used or taken advantage of the fact that most people are too polite to say anything, to just keep having that conversation. No doubt we've all experienced the person who just talks at you when you're either at the pub or in a social situation where there's not really a opportunity to leave politely.
Especially when, have you ever had it at, house party or something, where, you get cornered by that person, and you're, physically, literally, trapped in a corner, and you're like, And you're basically like eyeing at people like, come and save me, please.
Do you remember, like, back in the day, like, not naming any names, but
I think I know exactly who
you know what I'm talking about before I even mention them, don't you? There was a friend of a friend of a friend who every house party they turned up to would just say obnoxious, loud things so people paid attention to them. They would just deliberately antagonize someone there. And they didn't.
It was the type of friend, bear in mind, that if I'm thinking of the right person anyway, that, you know, the person who invited to the house party would come up to people and be like, look, just like this person says these kind of things, just let it slide. And it's like when your friend has to actively warn everybody in the party about what the shit you're going to say is. Yeah.
And as well, the reason they ask people not to react is because if the moment anybody went, hang on a second, and I don't want to repeat any of the stuff they said because it was awful. One example I can give that's not outright racist or sexist is when, it might have been when you were coming, and they found out you were from Liverpool, and it was before you arrived, and I think this is one that got shut down. Yeah. And they joked about, like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't talk to a Liverpudlian. Or I don't think they said Scouse. And I said, well, last time I went to a Scouse pub and I said it's like 37 wasn't enough, or however many people died at Hillsborough. Just to start an argument in a pub. And they went, yeah, last time I did that, I nearly got kicked out. I nearly got my head kicked in at the pub. I'm not fucking surprised. And that's just the kind of person they were, where they would just say the most obnoxious, offensive thing they could think of, so the person will get annoyed and argue with them, because by doing that, they will be the centre of attention for the entirety of that house party. And clearly, as I said, that's all you've got. You haven't got a personality. You've got this.
And for audio listeners, just imagine me shocked and appalled.
Yes. And, like, think of, like, any, like, you know, any belief or trait you would have. They would just single out, say, the single most obnoxious, offensive thing they could think of to upset someone so they'd have an argument with them. And they would just sit there, the entire house party, smugly in the middle as people argued with them, and they'd just disagree with everything. And it got to the point where that person stopped getting invited to stuff because I think our friend just got wise to that act.
Like, even, like, because I think the only reason that they were like childhood friends, right, or something, and it was one of those of, like, they were just too polite to ever call them out.
Exactly, and that's the kind of behaviour I'll be talking about, like taking advantage of someone's politeness or the situation or the fact that people won't call you out.
And obviously, like, our friend didn't have ill intentions when they went around, like, asking us to not be a dick to their friend. They were just trying to be a good friend to their friend, but their friend was not paying that respect back.
Yeah, like they were taking advantage of their kindness and seeing it as weakness. And
yeah,
I said it's just every house party, just
for like
years.
A good while, yeah. And like, yeah, it just got to the point where people just had enough of their shit.
Now we just got told, like, don't talk to them.
Now they're one of those friends doing choreography at the front of a Taylor Swift movie because that's all they've got.
I'm not saying that behaviour is the same, because that's like, you know...
No, it's not the same. I was just making a joke.
Yeah, but that's like the example I think of just... Clearly, like, I'd like to think they didn't believe everything they said. Clearly there was something inside of them.
I think that they thought it was more important to have an argument and get a rise out of people than actually say anything that they believed in.
Yeah, they liked the argument. They liked being the centre of attention.
And they had appalling opinions, but what's
a better way to start an argument with a bunch of, like, left-leaning liberal university students?
But, like, you know, the thing that you said about going into, like, a pub in Liverpool and, you know, spouting shit about the Hillsborough disaster, like, that kind of stuff is, like... I don't necessarily think they sit there and have an actual opinion of, like, anything to do with that regard. I just think they know it's a subject that is obviously a very sore spot and went, this will trigger somebody.
Yeah, and I get to be the centre of attention as they yell at me. Because clearly, developing a personality or a personality that people want to spend time around is too much work. Do you know what's easy? Just saying an offensive thing and sitting there with my arms crossed like a smug prick. And just saying nah to every time they argue with me.
And I'm kind of disappointed that... Yeah, I'm disappointed in the Scousers around me Their head didn't get kicked.
I'll tell you what, I remember them saying that. That really felt like a fake story they made up. Because I cannot believe that anybody would, one, have the balls to do it, and would, two, leave the pub without having the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, like, that's the thing is...
Because, as well, they also lied about everything.
I definitely think that they're more likely to make up that story than to have actually had the balls to do it.
Because, as well, that we should clarify, that person just made everything. Like, every time they came, it's like they've been doing some new wondrous thing, and they were the big dick at work that everybody loved and had to refer to the opinions of. We should invite him on the podcast. Seeing they're still around. That could be fun. That'd play well.
They've had their head kicked in yet?
I don't know. I can't imagine a person like that walks around like without. Because that's the thing. We were at the age where we were too young and polite. Like, I don't imagine there's much chance of continuing with that attitude into like adult life without at least one person kicking the shit out of you.
If I met that person now rather than when I was like 19, we'd be having fucking words. Yeah. I don't have the patience for that kind of attitude anymore.
I don't imagine someone who has that attitude. They probably spend all the time online now, I bet. They're probably really big on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. God. We've let this one get out of our hands, haven't we, Karl?
We've shared a lot. And that's the thing, it's like, we do go places with this podcast, but man, like, I appreciate that the moment I said, remember those house parties, and you instantly went, you knew he's that person that sticks with you to this day.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And like, yeah, the moment you started half that sentence, I was like, I know the person that you're about to
because we've all had
yeah.
this, like, as a group of friends, had the exact same conversation, reminisce like, remember how much of a fucking prick that guy was?
Yeah. Like, a legend among legends is like, to this day, we as a group of friends still talk about how much of a massive bellend that random guy was that we met.
Don't even know his name. I don't remember his name, but I remember how much of a knob he was.
I don't remember his name. Yeah.
I just remember how much of just an unthinkable dipshit he was. And it serves like a great example of the behaviour we've been talking about. Yes.
I want to bring up a fun anecdote.
Go for it, yeah. Let's end on a fun anecdote.
House party that I had. And it's just a very silly one, but for some reason it just popped into my head of just a silly thing that happened.
Go for it.
We threw like a flat party years ago, and we were just like, hey, people, just like bring your own booze, like maybe bring like some snacks for people to share. We'll provide like accommodation and stuff, and whoever needs a stay can crash on the floor or whatever. We've got plenty of like,
that's how you know it's a younger
sleeping bags, stuff like that. It was when we were younger.
That's how when you say you can crash on the floor, and it's like, and you expect people to take, wow, the floor.
Well, and it was one of those of like there were plenty of people coming, like traveling for a couple of hours, so it was like, hey, there's like 15 people sleeping here. Yeah, you're gonna have a rough night.
Yeah, and it's like it's younger person mentality. Like you sleep where you drop. If someone sleeps on a sofa and they get the sofa first, that's their bed. But continue.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it just always sticks with me that one person brought like the red original like tube of Pringles as the one contribution to their snacks.
Okay.
And then spent all night after I gave them like a bit of, jokey grief for it. Of like, you brought original Pringles, like really? Like, really? No one's going to open these. And they spent all night defending their judgment of bringing those Pringles. And then not only were the Pringles left unopened, they left without the Pringles. They didn't even take them back themselves. Even they didn't want the Pringles. I was like, you spent all night defending your decision to bring salted Pringles, and then even you didn't want them. And I was just like, to this day, it just sticks with me because that can of Pringles stayed in our cupboard for like a year until we got rid of them.
And no one wanted them. That's like...
Just no one ever wanted the sad Pringles.
It's like, I went on a night out years and years ago where we thought we were going to celebrate Christmas 6 months early. So we all went out in Christmas jumpers in the middle of summer. And every bar we went to, we were just like... Mate got kicked out of the bar by the bouncer for asking to pull a Christmas cracker. And the guy when the guy pulled the Christmas cracker, he tried to get the bouncer to wear the hat. If you put that hat on my head, I'm kicking you the fuck out. Oh, come on, it's Christmas. and got kicked out because he put a hat on the bouncer and the bouncer tore it up. But then he went and complained to the manager. When the manager kicked me out when it's Christmas. They asked him, like, why are you celebrating Christmas this early, being a dipshit? And my friend just, like, pulled, like, the stops around. Oh, well, the friend we're out with is he's not going to make it till Christmas, so he wanted to celebrate one last time.
No.
The bouncer got told off.
No.
Oh.
I hope that. I hope that wasn't a true part.
It wasn't
of the
true.
story.
No.
Like, no. Oh no. That's so harsh, though. To immediately, my friend's not gonna make it.
Yeah. So, it's like I went out for like a stag do with my mate to celebrate stag do in the UK, and I got a phone call the next day from him of like, "The fuck did you do, mate?" Because like we ended up at one bar and then everyone passed out. And I went, oh yeah, because when I went up to get shots, it's my turn to get shots, and I started talking to people at the bar. Because I'm like, when I get drunk, I get really, really, I don't give a fuck. I start making shit up because it's funny. I went, oh yeah, see my mate over there? I went, yeah, he's getting married. I went, oh yeah. So if you want to help, like, celebrate, like, more the merrier. And I was like, yeah, it's really sad though. I'm like, why? So he's leaving the country. Giving the missus the move. It's the last time I'm going to see him. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch up with him for ages. I was like, is he going to say, yeah, I'm not going to see him for years. He's getting married, so we're having to celebrate now because no one's going to ever see him again. And just everyone brought like loads of shot in the bar and heard me saying it. And just the next day, I got off a phone call of like, where did you? Oh, I went home after that. I just told everyone. And apparently people were coming up like all night of like, oh, good luck, mate.
Oh, dear. God. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the kind of to cause chaos. I'm normally like,
I'm that
back
friend.
In the day,
I'm terrible at talking to people, normally.
Do a bunch of shots and leave.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I'm just like, I just do the Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
That's my trick.
I'm terrible at talking to people, and like, I'm bad at like chatting people up when it's me, but when I'm talking on behalf of somebody else, I'm like fucking, it's like liquid fucking gold coming out of my mouth, and I'm like straight in. Gift of the gab right away when I'm like talking on someone else's behalf. Like, the amount of times I've been on nights out and got like friends and stuff hooked up and just talking to a random lass at the bar and go, oh yeah, it's like, you see my friend over there? And it's like, she's on the phone and stuff like that. So, I just think you're really fit. He asked me, I'm here for a drink, but he asked you that as well. And if you could give me your number, that'd be fine. But otherwise, like, just, if you spot him and you see him, like, just, yeah, he's looking because he thinks you're fit. Dude's got no fucking idea. It's really fun to do. Sometimes you just got to do a little bit of trolling as a treat.
One of my favourite trends, going around like TikTok and stuff a while ago, and yeah, this is probably like a year or two back, but doing the like chat up line of like, hey, my friend over there thinks you're really hot, and then running over to the spot and being like, yeah.
Oh, that's a solid one.
Like, it's a good line.
It's
a good one.
There's a couple of really bad ones that I've heard, but I'll save those for another day.
Karl's not giving us like the chat up tips.
Well, like, okay, the worst one.
Drop one.
The worst one. This is not mine. It's a friend of mine, and I did see it work. Where like we were at a table, we're just like a group of lasses. We sat down. So, do you mind if we sit here? Because there's nowhere else. Yeah, I've got to talking. And like one of the lasses is talking about, oh, she's single. And it's like, oh, we asked like, any good chat up lines lately? It's like, no, they're all like, no one ever comes up with one that's really bad. I said, what? And my mate went, oh yeah, I've got a really bad one for you. And he said, no. It's like, no, it's really bad. He said, no. Anyway, okay. Is your dad in prison? No. Well, if I was your dad, I'd be in prison. And the girl, and she stood up and left. She was that offended by it. And all of her friends left and was like, table to herself. And he looked at me and went, she asked for a bad one. I told you I didn't want to say it.
I didn't think it would be that bad.
That's what they said. It's like, I think they were joking of like, oh yeah, like, I want to hear a bad one. And it's like, no, you don't. It's like, no, tell me a bad one. And she left.
Yeah, I think I'd leave too. Dear God.
Hey,
nothing prepped me for that level of
nothing ever does.
Hell. Oh, dear God.
I told you I didn't want to say. And do you know what? That's the exact way that conversation went. We were sat at that bar of like, I don't want to say it. No, tell us. I told you. So there's an old joke about that as well. If you want to hear that one.
Not anymore.
Exactly. Okay, good.
I guess on that note, we can at least celebrate the fact that like H from Steps is finally free. That's some good news.
He can put his name on his tour dates now. Imagine looking at that. Oh shit, he came back. It's back from the dead. Zombie. How popular a costume do you think that's going to be on Halloween? Nah, fair enough. We can call it there then, if you like.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day.
Yeah, thank you all for listening. Even after that terrible, terrible chat line.
It was. I'll go.
What a story, Karl or Lucas. That sure was a great video.
I wasn't sure what you were doing for a second.
So welcome to our shout-outs to our big PPs over on Patreon. And PP stands for Patreon Producer. We call them PPs because it's funny to say.
Carl, they're the big PP.
They are the big PPs, yes. And if you would like to become a big PP, you can follow the links found below to become a member of our Patreon and hear your name be shouted out like we're about to do now. And the first name to shout out, Lucas, is someone who's taken a gauntlet I threw down on the ground many, many months ago and decided to put a piece of poo in it and then slap me across the face of it by creating ever more elaborate and difficult tongue twisters. So the first person I need to shout out is through rough, cough, sloughing snuffles, brought tough, thought fraught throngs through slough, slight altins suppose the stress. And it appears that their name got cut off by the character limit over on Patreon, so do be aware of that. Yeah, but I think I nailed that tongue twister. I also like as well like referencing slough in a tongue twister. It's slough.
Or imagine being able to be magically whisked away to Delaware. Hi, I'm in Delaware.
And I'm going through some rough coughs at the moment, so it's quite fitting. So if I sound a little bit off, I'm just ill still, and I still want to be here to just shout out everyone and give thanks for support. So,
yes, literally fighting through illness. And before we did this, Lucas just looked at me like, Karl, I don't think I'm going to make it.
But the next person we have to thank for their lovely support is Daddy Grunt. And Karl, obviously, we could acknowledge Daddy part of Daddy Grunt, but I'm just going to say, like, in terms of grunting, in terms of, like, acting, what's your favourite kind of, like, effort in a video game or whatever?
There's a couple for me. I do like the efforts for Isaac Clarke in the Dead Space game. Because all of his like grunts of just to the point where he literally starts shouting "fuck you" if you swing around his gun enough.
I was going to make a joke of I like the noises that the grunts make in Halo when they're just and screaming.
Like, what's your favourite grunt scream and why is it not again when they get hit by a plasma grenade? And the next person to shout out is somebody who has taken that poo-poo covered gauntlet I mentioned earlier, picked it back up off the floor and slapped me across the other cheek by coming up with a name that is a series of words in a language I do not speak. So let's give that a go, shall we? So, next person to shout out is Tinakui, Hochata, Oxilane, Tomi, Sema, Sikapatia, Ta, Nitla, Maktia, Ipan, Kalta, Maktilioyan. And if I've mispronounced that, I'm very, very sorry. If you can't tell, I'm very bad at pronouncing words I'm not familiar with. So I deeply apologise for my bad pronunciation, but I do get the feeling that the person who picked that as their name on Patreon kind of wanted to see me fail a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Just the thing is, just a little bit. Yeah. Not too much where we're going to get cancelled for like, have you heard how bad that pronunciation is? But enough where they can be like, look at this fucking dude just struggle.
Playa, Yakur.
Of the volcano. Aya Fiatla Yurga.
Eja Fiatla
Joku. I mean, speaking of struggling, Karl, I don't even have words for the next shout out, so
that's what I mean. Like, people have like these gauntlets. I feel like there's multiple gauntlets now with multiple kinds of poo in them that people are like throwing at us left and right. So the next person has not even submitted a name; they've submitted a story told via emojis. So Lucas, what is this story?
I don't necessarily know what the story is. I can't quite grasp it, but it does appear to be a series of faces made out of punctuation. So I'm gonna do my best to describe what I see.
So Lucas, I now get to say one of my favourite lines from one of my favourite bad game shows. Say what you see.
£290. What do you think it is?
Tip the waiter.
I see burning dragon, uwu face, happy face, glasses face, maybe butt cheeks, little jazz hands face, and then an angry face throwing a table at a very scared looking face. Yeah, did I just absolutely fail at getting the prize in catchphrase?
Like, no one will ever fail harder than just a snake charmer. We mention it all the time. I'm putting the clip in again.
Means concentrate. Here we go. Sean.
Snake charmer.
And the next person to shout out is Rosalindus Memphis. And we need to shout out Rosalindus Memphis, one, for their long-time support, because I recognise this name. It's been in multiple of these big PP shout-outs. And also for just having a nice, short, easy-to-pronounce name that doesn't embarrass myself or Lucas.
True.
And I mentioned in the last big PP shout-out, I do try to put in a fun clip for each person's name when we shout them out. And the one I keep trying to put in for Rosalindus Memphis is a song with the word Memphis in it.
I find it funny, Karl, because I said months and months ago now that you're going to regret throwing this challenge down so hard, and now here we are. But somebody else that has kept it simple is Kicking Bucket, who also has decided to, I think it was last month, they added in also having a table flip emote in there. So we've got multiple little angry table flip emotes in there.
And Kicking Bucket is a euphemism for, just eating shit. So, Lucas, what's the most you've eaten shit recently in a video game?
I mean, I've been playing Hollow Knight Silk Song, Karl, so...
Say no more.
All I can see in my head is just, Hornet just Shah!
Well, for me, it's Borderlands, because I bought Borderlands 4, and I shit you not, it won't boot up.
Oh my god.
It crashes on boot if you're connected to the internet.
It just dies, it kills itself.
It literally, as soon as you start the game, it crashes on boot, so I think the entire game refusing to play... That's the entire game just died. It's great. Amazing. Fuck you, fix that shit, Randy. Premium games, premium players, they won't even boot up without being connected to the internet. Fucking legendary. The next person to shout out is Lucille DeSteele. And Lucas, I've kind of been, taking the reins on this one because Lucille DeSteele is another long-time supporter. And I keep putting in clips of real steel. So instead of me putting in a clip from one of my favourite, comfort movies, guilty pleasure movies, whatever you want to call it, what's a guilty pleasure / comfort movie for you I can put a clip in from?
Hopefully you can get away with putting a clip in, but my answer is going to be Lilo and Stitch, and not because it's necessarily a guilty pleasure film, but more I take a lot of guilty pleasure in the amount of just Stitch merchandise I constantly buy.
Yeah, and I'd say you get to pick which clip I'm going to put in, but it's of course where Lilo just absolutely goes to town on that little girl and starts delivering the hammer fists.
You're crazy.
Why do they not teach the little girl playing Lilo in the live action reboot MMA shit so she could just deliver the beatdown of all beatdowns?
So this is where you get her in the arm lock. Oh god. And the next person we have to thank, Karl, is Bee of Awesome, who has provided the answer to the riddle that they provided last month, which I'm a big fan of. The idea of giving us a month worth of setup and then a month worth of payoff.
And Lucas, would you like to remind people of the riddle they posed to us last month? Because that's another fun thing people are doing with the big PP shout-outs of posing questions and riddles to us that we have to answer. It's answer me my riddles 3.
So Bee of Awesome, the answer to last week's riddle, what lies on the ground 100 feet in the air? It is an upside-down centipede. And
I should have seen that one come in.
Yeah, I read that and was like, how does that make any sense? Why would there be any...
We admitted to not cheating. We could have cheated for that riddle and made us look really smart, but we figured we could cheat for the riddle and look smart, but then people are going to see us try and pronounce these foreign words and just then know we're not that smart. But the next person to shout out is Ghost Emoji, Little Ghost Emoji, and it is Spooky Month. Lucas, do you have a favourite ghost or character who is now a ghost? That's not going to be too much of a spoiler.
Well, I'm going to go with Pokemon, as I do love Pokemon, and I'm going to say Mimikyu, because
that's fair.
It's quite fitting for October, I'd say. It's in permanent outfit of Pikachu cosplay, because if it's not
wearing a Halloween costume, right?
It's literally wearing a Halloween costume, but if the Halloween costume falls off, everybody dies.
I know it can't be, but could it be? Pikachu's hair!
And then next person we have to thank, Karl, is Split Screen, another person that has just gracefully not punished us, so I have to thank them for that.
And their name is Split Screen, and we are in Spooky Month, as mentioned. So, Lucas, is there a favourite example you have of what I like to refer to as scream acting, which is where actors just scream real loud and it's very convincing, or, at the very least, entertaining?
Well, my favourite moment of scream acting is in the movie Scream, where they...
I knew it. I knew it. When Matthew Lillard just gnaws on the scenery. Yeah,
yeah, of course. Like, the faking death moment, just, the reveal. It's like, yeah.
That's right. You gave it up. Now you're no longer a virgin. That virgin. Now you gotta die. Those are the rules.
My favourite example of like proper scream acting is Shalto Copley in District 9, where he's just screaming in like with his really broad South African accent, like "Fuck you, you fucking prawns!" He's so good. He spends half that movie just fucking screaming, and then the other half annihilating people with pigs launched at Mach 3.
Not the Mach 3 pigs.
No one wants the Mach 3 pig. Except for Shalto Copley, because he's like, fucking prawns! And last but not least, we have to shout out Ranma Satami. And it's really fun as well, because like, when I booted up my computer this morning to start work, I saw we had like a Patreon subscribe, and it was Ranma Satami. I'm like, that's perfect. Me and Lucas are doing the shout outs later today. They picked us at the post and got it at the last possible second to get their name in the credits.
There's my name right there.
Ranma Satami.
Looks more like Brad Storch.
No, it says Betty. Betty Symington. That's for taking credit for other people's work.
We appreciate the support of our big PPs. Our PPs are just everyone who watches these videos, especially if you're watching it to the end and seeing us talk now. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.